Chapter 1, 1. The Person I Want to Wait For. Chapter 1 of the Night, Sonata. 2022, Autumn. The drizzling rain fell from the gray sky, lightly showering the city streets. In this autumn season, one could occasionally see pedestrians without umbrellas scurrying past, shielding their heads with their hands. In the narrow lane shared by military and civilians, a young man about 17 or 18 was sitting opposite an old man beneath the awning next to the small store of Fortune supermarket. Outside the awning the whole world was gloomy, the ground had been soaked to a light black by the rainwater, only the ground under the awning remained a dry patch, as if this was the only pure land left in the whole world. A worn wooden chessboard lay before them, with the red sign of Fortune supermarket overhead. Source, novigo.co. Checkmate, Xing said and then stood up, leaving the old man with thinning hair sitting stupefied. Xing gave the other party a calm look and said, "No more struggling is necessary." "I still can," the old man said unwillingly, "we've only played 13 moves." In his words, the old man felt somewhat embarrassed by the situation that had led to his defeat after only 13 moves. Xing didn't explain anything, as the chessboard already revealed a killing intent, signaling the final moment when the assassin's dagger is revealed. The young man's face was clean, his eyes clear, and just by sitting there in his simple school uniform, it seemed as though he purified the world around him, making it a bit more transparent. The old man tossed the chess piece he was holding onto the board, resigning the game. Xing, as if nobody else was around, walked into the counter area of the nearby supermarket and took 20 yuan from the change basket underneath, tucking it into his pocket. The old man cursed as he watched Xing, "To lose 20 yuan to you every day. I just won 20 yuan from Lao Li and Lao Zhang this morning, and now it's all lost to you." After Xing pocketed the money, he sat back down beside the chessboard and began to review the game. "If they weren't already unwilling to play chess with me, I wouldn't need to win money through you. You need face, I need money, it's quite fair and reasonable. So you've made up your mind about me, huh?" the old man grumbled. "The fortune teller said I would live to 78, and I'm only 50 now. If I lose 20 yuan to you every day, how much money would I have to pay out? But I still teach you chess so you can win back your face," Xing replied calmly. "When you think about it, you're not at a loss." The old man muttered, "But what you've taught these last few days has been useless." Xing glanced at him. "Don't talk about yourself that way." The old man? Irritated, the old man set up the chessboard again and then said eagerly, all right, let's review the game." At that moment, Xing suddenly bowed his head. The time that had just passed seemed to replay in his mind. The cannon that struck without warning, the brave soldiers on the border between Chu and Han echoed one by one in his mind. Not just these. There was also the uncle who walked past them while they were playing chess, carrying 4 freshly baked biscuits that released a bit of steam into the transparent plastic bag, coating it with a layer of white fog. The little girl in a white dress passing by with an umbrella had 2 beautiful butterflies on the surface of her little leather shoes. Above the sky, the wavering rain soaked the lane, glistening and translucent. At the end of the lane, a 103 bus flashed past the narrow alley entrance, and a woman in a beige trench coat ran towards the bus stop with her umbrella raised. The sound of footsteps, the sound of rainwater flowing into the drain covers by the roadside, these loud noises made the world seem particularly quiet. All of this, Xing had not forgotten, although recalling it was somewhat difficult. But difficult does not mean impossible. This peculiar memory power was a talent Xing was born with, as if he had simply drawn a save file from the river of time and then read the images from that save tape. Xing suppressed the dizziness in his brain and picked up a chess piece on the board. The old man suddenly fell silent, his eyes intently focused on the board, as replaying each game after was a part of the betting agreement. Xing was responsible for teaching chess, while the old man, after losing money, learned chess. This scene was somewhat eerie. Xing did not have the humility and shyness that a younger person should have in front of an elder. Instead, he was like a teacher. The other party didn't seem to mind that at all. Red cannon from 2 to 5, black cannon from 8 to 5, red horse from 2 forward to 3, black horse from 8 forward to 7, red chariot from 1 forward to 1, black chariot from 9 to 8, Ching Chen moved the pieces step by step. The old man didn't even blink. The opening moves were all standard, but he couldn't understand why, on the 6th move, when he had clearly taken the opponent's horse, he suddenly found himself in decline. The essence of the horse sacrifice 13 move lies in the 6th step of advancing the chariot and sacrificing the horse. It's the trump card for tearing open the defense, Ching Chen said calmly. I watched the game you played the day before yesterday with that old man in Royal City Park. He likes to play a running start. There will be no issues if you use the horse sacrifice 13 move against him. The old gentleman across fell deep into thought, then asked softly, can I really beat him? If you learn the horse sacrifice 13 move that I teach you within a week, you'll be able to reclaim your face, Ching Chen said. After all, his play is not that good either. A trace of joy appeared on the old man's face. But then he suddenly asked, if I can win against him after studying for a week, how long do I need to study chess in order to beat you? Underneath the awning, Ching Chen thought seriously, did the fortune teller say you can live to 78 years old? Then it's too late. The old man's expression faltered. If you talk less, maybe I can live to 79. Shouldn't you be in evening self-study now? Why did you get out of school so early today? He knew Ching Chen was a high school sophomore, and it was Tuesday, so the high school 2 streets away should be in evening self-study at that time. Ching Chen thought for a moment and answered, I'm waiting for someone. Waiting for someone? The old man was taken aback. Ching Chen stood up and looked out at the fine rain outside the awning, his gaze drifting in the curtain of rain. The old man said, Ching Chen, you young fellow play chess so well, why don't you participate in chess competitions? Didn't you say you are short of money? You'd get a reward if you won the championship. The young Ching Chen shook his head. I just memorized many chess manuals in my mind, that's all. It doesn't mean I'm that good at chess. Memory power doesn't imply analytical power. I can play with you guys, but if I encounter a real master, I'll show my weakness. My path is not here, chess is only temporary. All memorized in your mind, the old man sighed. I used to think that photographic memory was just a made-up thing by others. The rain slowly stopped. Just then, the old man suddenly noticed Ching Chen pause. He followed the young man's gaze to the end of the alley, and saw a couple walking towards them, leading a little boy. The middle-aged woman was wearing an elegant coat and carrying a cake box tied with a pretty purple ribbon. The dull world could not hide the joy on the faces of the 3 people. Ching Chen turned and walked away, leaving the old man sitting under the awning in front of Fortune's supermarket, sighing softly. The middle-aged woman saw Ching Chen's retreating figure. She called out his name, but Ching Chen, without turning his head, disappeared at the other end of the alleyway. The walls on both sides of the alley were very old, and after the white plaster had fallen off, what was left were patches of mottled red brick. The person Ching Chen was waiting for had arrived, yet he no longer wanted to wait. Creator's thoughts. Lord Bluefire. Footnote 1. Face is a Chinese saying. The meaning is close to prestige/honor. 2. In Chinese chess, Chu River and Han border divides the 2 opposing sides and is the center boundary between both players. To win, a player has to advance their pieces to the other side and checkmate the opponent. 3. A game of Chinese chess is played on a board 9 lines wide and 10 lines long. The pieces are placed on the intersections, which are known as points. The vertical lines are known as files, and the horizontal lines are known as ranks. Chapter 2. Countdown. The middle-aged woman hurried to the entrance of Fortune's supermarket, looking at the old man. Elder Zhang, why is Ching Chen coming to you for chess again? The conversation suggested that both parties knew each other. But Elder Zhang's tone was less courteous. Your own son, and you're asking me? He's run out of living expenses and has to earn some pocket money by playing chess to afford meals. The middle-aged woman Zhang Wanfang paused, but I do send his father Ching Chen's living allowance every month. That statement made Elder Zhang pause as well. Then I don't know what's going on. Elder Zhang pondered. Zhang Wanfang was not impoverished by any means,
and it seemed she didn't skimp on Ching Chen's living allowance.
But why was the boy still living so tightly?
Ching Chen didn't seem to be a wastrel, living each day thriftily and never even taking a sip of soda. But shouldn't he be at evening self-study at this time? Asked Zhang Wanfang.
It was then that Elder Zhang remembered. He said that he was waiting for someone.
Source, novigo.co. No, I must go back home and check, said Zhang Wanfang.
As she spoke, she was about to leave quickly with the cake in hand, but she heard the man beside her suddenly say, Wanfang, it's Hao Hao's birthday today, we've already made reservations, and we're going to take him to the movies afterward. Zhang Wanfang turned to look at the man. Ching Chen might be skipping classes, I can't just ignore that. He's 17 and can take care of himself. Besides, he has his real dad, doesn't he? Said the man, before softening his tone. Actually, you could visit him on the weekend too. How about we focus on Hao Hao today? After hearing this, Zhang Wanfang frowned, but ultimately she sighed, alright, let's celebrate Hao Hao's birthday today. In the shaded path of the Shijia residential quarters under the city government's jurisdiction, Ching Chen walked silently under the camphor trees. Unlike the high-rise buildings typifying modern metropolises, this compound was filled with four-story low-rise buildings from the 1970s, no elevators, no gas, and the sewage system occasionally clogged. You couldn't use high-power electrical appliances at home because they would trip the circuit breaker. Ching Chen walked into the dimly lit entrance, ignoring the myriad of ads plastered on the wall for locksmiths and housing sales, and used his key to open the door on the first floor. The 76-square-meter home, with 2 bedrooms and 1 living room, had poor lighting because it was on the ground floor. He took out his phone, opened the contacts list, and dialed out, "Hello, Dad." The voice on the other end interrupted him, "If you want living expenses, ask your mother. I don't have money, she's the one who's well off now." During the conversation, the sound of shuffling mahjong tiles could be heard in the background. "I don't want money," Ching Chen said quietly, "I haven't asked you for money in a long time." "Then what is it?" the man said impatiently, "another parents' meeting at school. Go to your mother for that kind of thing." Before the other party could finish, Ching Chen hung up the phone proactively this time. He leaned gently against the closed front door, lifting the sleeve of his school uniform jacket. He stared blankly at the white numbers and symbols on his forearm, resembling a liquid crystal display screen. Countdown 5 hours 58 minutes and 13 seconds. The white digits were like fluorescent tattoos embedded in his flesh and skin, immovable no matter how much he rubbed them. On closer inspection, Ching Chen could see that the digits contained special and intricate patterns, like mechanical parts meshing together, radiating a sense of futuristic technology. The numbers were silently changing. Countdown 5 hours 58 minutes and 12 seconds. Countdown 5 hours 58 minutes and 11 seconds. With only 5 hours, 58 minutes, and 11 seconds left, everything seemed to be reminding Ching Chen that in 5 hours and 58 minutes, something unbelievable would happen. Though there was no sound, Ching Chen distinctly heard the ticking of the second hand in his mind. Ching Chen glanced at the phone he had hung up and then at the empty room. He didn't know what kind of life awaited him after 5 hours and 58 minutes, he only knew that the only one he could rely on was himself. Time is a profound unit of measurement, marking the length of life and the breadth of civilization. The concept of time exists in everyone's life. So, when any countdown appears in your life, no matter what it is counting down towards, it will instill a sense of urgency in you. 5 hours remained, and no one knew what the end of this countdown would be. Possibly danger? Or maybe another kind of life? Ching Chen couldn't be certain, and he could only prepare for the worst. Therefore, he had to get some things ready before the countdown ended. If real danger was to come, he wanted to ensure that he had some ability to resist within his capacity. Ching Chen put on a clean gray jacket, using the shadow of the hood to conceal his appearance. He took advantage of the night. He headed out in the direction of the farmer's market. The skies in Los Angeles City grew dark early in October. From the residential buildings came the sounds of cooking, the explosive noise of vegetables hitting hot oil, followed by the enticing aroma wafting through the air. Scents of eggs, pork, and lamb flowed into Ching Chen's mind like streams of data, to be retrieved from his archives whenever he needed this information. He bought pliers and a shovel at the hardware store, a bag of rice, a bag of flour, and table salt at the grocery store. He also bought several boxes of antibiotics from a pharmacy, batteries and a flashlight, and compressed biscuits from a supermarket. Not knowing what he was going to face, he could only prepare as much as possible. These items almost depleted all of Ching Chen's savings. After Ching Chen returned home with his purchases, he went straight into the kitchen. He placed all usable knives on the cutting board in the most convenient spots in the room. A kitchen knife under the pillow and a boning knife on the nightstand. Countdown, 2 hours, 43 minutes, 11 seconds. He made sure all the doors and windows were secure, then sat on the edge of the bed and pondered whether to seek help. But whom to ask? His mother had a new family, and his father was a gambler. In fact, when the countdown first appeared on his arm a few hours earlier, 17-year-old Ching Chen instinctively thought about seeking help from his parents. But he then dismissed that idea. Ching Chen took out his phone, trying to capture a photo of the white countdown on his arm, but he discovered the white lines clearly visible to the naked eye weren't appearing on the phone screen at all. The room was dim, unlit, and the windows weren't soundproof. Because it was on the first floor, he could often hear the footsteps of passers-by outside. The footsteps outside, the breathing inside, the faintly lit phone screen, everything was so tranquil yet eerie. It seemed pointless to seek help from ordinary people for such a bizarre and outrageous event, and besides, he didn't have any particularly good friends at school. Even if he did, should he really involve ordinary people in such matters? So, if he was to seek help, he could only think of other ways. Wait. Ching Chen seemed to remember something, stood up, and began searching in the living room. 2 minutes later, he silently regarded the Guanyin Bodhisattva pendant in his hand. Then, with gravity, he placed it in front of him and earnestly bowed 9 times. The last of his preparations was complete. Creator's thoughts. Lord Bluefire. Footnote 1. Mahjong is a tile-based game commonly played by 4 players, typically with gambling/betting aspects involved. Played with a set of 144 tiles which are shuffled by the players before each game. They also make a distinctive collision sound. Each player then gets 13 tiles, and the first person to match a hand of 14 tiles ends the game. 2. In Chinese customs, the Guanyin Bodhisattva is the goddess of compassion, mercy, and kindness, and is also regarded as a mother goddess and patron of sailors. Chapter 3. Shattered World. Visiting bodhisattvas when a crisis is looming may seem like a desperate attempt to seek random medical help. However, Ching Chen felt that this supernatural phenomenon on his arm should indeed be addressed by supernatural beings. As far as Ching Chen was concerned, worshipping wouldn't put him at a loss anyway. He preferred to take care of preparations beforehand, leaving no room for regrets. The time was 9:30 p.m. Ching Chen sat on his bed, looking down at his phone. The bedroom was lit only by this faint light, and WeChat had only a few words sent from his deskmate, Nan Gengchen. There were no messages from anyone else. The quiet WeChat avatar of his mother, Zhang Wanfang, made Ching Chen feel a bit lost. Of course, it was just a slight feeling. He didn't even know what he was expecting. Source, novigo.co. Actually, he didn't blame his mother. His father had gambled away several properties, was involved in domestic violence, and even cheated. Ching Chen didn't think there was anything wrong with his mother initiating the divorce. On the contrary, having seen his father hit his mother, Ching Chen even felt happy about his mother's decision. Because it was the right thing to do. On the eve of his parents' divorce, his grandmother tried to persuade his mother not to go through with it. How can you, a woman with a teenage son as a burden, ever remarry? Who would marry you again? Hearing all this, Ching Chen chose to live with his father when his parents divorced. He remembered his parents' astonished expressions, but Ching Chen knew it was the right choice too. Now that his mother had started a new life and formed a happy new family, Xingchen might feel a bit lost, but he was still very careful not to disturb her.
Countdown 2 hours 31 minutes and 12 seconds. Suddenly, Xingchen thought of a question: if these were the last 2.5 hours of his life, what should he do? This question was both serious and romantic. Because it asks you what you truly want to do in your life, but haven't yet gotten around to doing, or haven't dared to do. Unexpressed love, people you want to meet but haven't met, places you want to visit but haven't visited, words you want to say but haven't said, they all fall within the scope of possible answers. This question cuts straight to the heart.
Xingchen got up, put on his jacket, and chose to leave the house again with little time left on the countdown. He pushed his broken bicycle out of the house and rode towards his destination.
The autumn night wind was a bit cool, and there were fewer and fewer pedestrians on the road.
Riding on the bicycle, Xingchen's expression was calm, his coat flapping in the wind on the bridge.
He indeed had many regrets in life and many things he was afraid to do.
But tonight, he needed no cowardice or fear, just courage. At one point, Xingchen thought that if he was to die tonight, he should finish what mattered most, as there was no time left. First, he went to Peony Grand Hotel, then to Los Angeles Grand Hotel, and finally to Luoyang residential area, but he couldn't find the person he was looking for at any of those places. Xingchen rode his bicycle through alleys, sped across the Chili River Bridge, and arrived at the foot of a residential building. When he saw the familiar broken second-hand motorcycle parked downstairs and heard the sound of mahjong playing from the second floor, he picked up his phone and dialed 110. "Hello, officer, I would like to report a gathering for gambling at Longting Community, Luojian District, Building 17, Unit 2, Apartment 201. The officer on the other end of the line seemed stunned for 2 seconds, then responded, "Okay, we'll arrange for the police to dispatch now." It wasn't until then that Xingchen felt relieved, turned around, and rode his bicycle back home. His mind was clear. At home, Xingchen glanced at the white pattern on his arm, countdown 1 hour 2 minutes and 21 seconds. He began to re-evaluate his preparations.
Wait, should he face that moment at home?
Xingchen had once seen a horror film where the protagonist encounters something filthy, resulting in a ghost finding him every midnight. The protagonist tried hiding everywhere, even in the deep mountains, but the ghost always found him. At that time, Xingchen wondered why the protagonist didn't go to a crowded place. Although ghosts were formidable, people generally felt safer in crowded places. For instance, the protagonist could stay in a nightclub where at midnight, when ghosts come knocking, hundreds of people would be shaking their heads to the roaring music, making it seem like the ghost should be more afraid.
So Xingchen began to wonder if he should also go somewhere crowded? Or he could just head to the White Horse Temple in Los Angeles City. After all, there were bodhisattvas there. Not only Guanyin Bodhisattva but also Manjusri Bodhisattva and Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva.
It seemed very safe. However, Xingchen eventually chose to stay at home, feeling that, compared to demons and ghosts, when the countdown ended, zombies or similar creatures were more likely to appear.
If that happened, going to a crowded place would be no different from seeking death, and besides, bodhisattvas didn't really handle such affairs.
Xingchen had already prepared supplies at home, so if zombies truly attacked, he could still hide at home for a while.
Countdown 31 minutes and 49 seconds.
In the last half hour, Xingchen turned on the desk lamp and silently wrote a will, leaving it on the desk. If he died today, perhaps one day his family and friends would read his final words. If he didn't die, then his life might be transformed into a whole new world.
Countdown 12 seconds.
After finishing the will, Xingchen sat up straight, clutching the boning knife tightly in his right hand. His clear eyes suddenly narrowed. The closer it got to the last moment, the calmer his emotions became. It was as if a tsunami paused just before swallowing a lone island, with no undercurrents stirring beneath the sea, only deep thoughts and fierce courage remaining.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No ghosts, no zombies, no disasters. Xingqian quietly watched as time around him froze, his cell phone seemingly stuck forever at 12 hours. The second hand on the wall clock suddenly stopped ticking, and the light outside the window no longer flickered. He stood up, and the frozen time seemed to shatter with his movement, the world in his eyes fracturing like a broken mirror.
Xingqian, holding the boning knife, looked around. There was no desk, no room, only darkness remaining.
Then, he too was engulfed by the darkness. Time seemed to pass indefinitely, yet it felt like only a moment, and suddenly Xingqian lost all concept of time. In the darkness, shards of the world began to piece together again, forming a brand new world from unknown fragments in an instant.
Xingqian lay on a narrow, hard bed in a completely unfamiliar environment he had never visited before.
He first looked at his palms, empty, the boning knife long since vanished. Then he looked at his arm, only to discover that the white lines there had changed. Return countdown 48 hours. 48 hours, or 2 days, Xingqian pondered.
The next moment, the countdown ticked a second, return countdown 47 hours 59 minutes and 59 seconds.
Creator's thoughts. Lord Bluefire.
Footnote 1. WeChat is a Chinese multi-purpose instant messaging and social media app similar to WhatsApp or Telegram.
2. Kilahi exists in real life, located entirely on the southern bank of the Yellow River, and includes part of Lanzhou's main urban area.
3. Chinese used filthy thing to describe a sort of paranormal entity, often linked to ghost hauntings. 4. Manjushri Bodhisattva is a bodhisattva, associated with wisdom. He represents the wisdom of prajna, not confined by knowledge or concepts. 5. Kshetragarbha Bodhisattva is a bodhisattva primarily revered in East Asia Buddhism and usually depicted as a Buddhist monk.
Typically known for his vow to take responsibility for the instruction of all beings in the 6 worlds, and his vow not to achieve Buddhahood until all hells are emptied.
Chapter 4. Not just one. Return countdown 47 hours 59 minutes and 58 seconds. Return countdown 47 hours 59 minutes and 57 seconds.
Had he crossed over? So the end of the countdown meant crossing to another time and space, and the return countdown was the time left to G back. Realizing this, Xingqian let out a sigh of relief. It was a good thing to be able to return. Although no one might be thinking about him there, his mother had a new life and couldn't spare thought for him, and his father was probably in a detention center. So he probably couldn't spare a thought for him either. But even so, he still wanted to go back and see for himself. And now, what he had to do was to stay alive during these 48 hours. Source: novigo.co. So, it was the first day of the countdown. Xingqian began to re-evaluate the new world in front of him. The moment the world pieced itself back together, Xingqian saw the prison uniform on his body and instantly understood his situation. He was in a gray, dim room, except for an alloy gate that exuded a technological feel. The other areas were completely enclosed walls. The door, 90 centimeters wide, had a small window, but it was closed now. The cell was a single room, containing only a bed covered with a thin sheet. Next to it was a rack with nothing more than a quilt, a toothbrush, and a towel. The cell walls were gray, but what Xingqian couldn't understand was why the gray walls, under the faint light outside, clearly emitted a metallic luster. Metallic walls? Xingqian sat up and solemnly touched the wall, wondering what place would use such a cost-disregarding building material? Clearly, this was no longer the world he had known. He quickly lowered his head to his palms. The fingerprints were completely identical to his former ones, even the position of the pores on his hands didn't differ by half a point. This was his own body. After traveling to this world, his boning knife had disappeared, the clothes he originally wore had vanished as well, but his body was indeed his own. Fingerprints and pore positions couldn't be faked. Xingqian sat on the bed, hugging his knees, staring at the heavy alloy gate, not knowing what he was thinking. Gradually, noises started outside, and even the sound of someone forcefully banging on the alloy gate could be heard. Xingqian slowly walked to the door, trying to listen to what was being shouted outside, but before he could make it out, the alloy gate emitted a clear pneumatic transmission sound and opened. He looked outside the door, which led to a circular corridor. This square prison fortress had 7 floors, each floor densely packed with orderly arranged cells. The open and vast prison fortress had only a few lights on, and from each open alloy gate came dim cells, like beasts caged inside. Xingqian stood inside the door. It seemed that with just one step out, he would be walking towards an unknowable life. In the vast prison, a broadcast suddenly started somewhere. A pleasant female voice uttered, 7 o'clock sharp, breakfast time. All inmates, please line up in order and proceed to the dining area for your meal. The voice echoed in the prison fortress, while Changchen still stared at the doorstep in front of him. It seemed that with just one step out, everything would be different. He felt that from a certain moment, he had already begun to change. When did it start? Probably, when he thought he had only 2.5 hours left in his life and decided to do what he had always wanted to but never dared to do. He had even reported his own father. What else was there to fear? He stepped out of the cell. But the next moment, he froze again. In the not-so-spacious corridor outside, a prisoner stood in front of each cell door. Xingqian's pupils suddenly constricted. An old man hunched over looked towards him, and in his eye socket, there was a mechanical eye emitting a faint red glow. The entire right eye socket was mechanically structured, extending to the temple on the right side. The mechanical eye looked unrefined, even a bit crude, but for some reason, Xingqian felt a sense of oppression from that eye fixed on him. It seemed as if the other party was analyzing the details on his body. Just like he used memory power to analyze others. A burly middle-aged prisoner's right arm was entirely mechanical. The man flexed his fingers, and Xingqian could hear the metallic sound of the mechanical components moving as the man's hand opened and closed. The robust metal arm, resembling coiled steel muscles, was strong and volatile. In this entire prison fortress, it seemed half of the people had mechanical limbs. Mechanical civilization. Those 4 words flashed through Xingqian's mind. Before he could ponder further, he saw the burly prisoner in the next cell smile at him. Hey, newbie, don't eat too much for breakfast, or it will look ugly when it comes back up. No sooner had he spoken than laughter echoed down the corridor. Heard that last night 12 new people arrived. Today we can have some fun. This kid has no mechanical limbs at all. Looks like he wasn't much connected on the outside either. When Changchen heard the words newbie, he was taken aback. He thought the other man knew he had just traversed from Earth. But he quickly realized that newbie probably meant he had just entered the prison. Presumably the other did not know about his earthling identity. And Changchen, frowning in thought, realized that the so-called fun for the others might spell disaster for him. But the question was, how was he supposed to survive among these mechanical beasts? He suppressed the restlessness and fear within him, and as a regular high school sophomore faced with a sudden and fierce event, the only thing Changchen could do was to force himself not to show any anomalies. Because he didn't know what consequences it might bring if his origin from another world was exposed. Suddenly, across on the 4th floor of the opposite corridor, a young man became frenzied. What is this place? I want to go home. I don't want to stay in this creepy place. Who are you people? I'm Huang Jixian. My dad is the chairman of the Los Angeles Wind Group. Stay away from me. With that, the young man began to run wildly along the corridor. The others didn't move, standing in place as if watching a spectacle, still lined up ready to head to the cafeteria. Someone asked in confusion, "Where is Los Angeles?" Suddenly, Xingqian heard a buzzing sound overhead. He looked up to discover, high up on the deep ceiling, 4 drone-like iron boxes detaching from the wall, beginning to descend. Xingqian's gaze lingered on the ceiling where the walls, made of alloy material, had neatly integrated 18 Gatling-like 6-barrel gun turrets hanging upside down. As the panicking young man ran, 9 of those gun barrels began to rotate. Please stop moving, a female voice came from the drone, warning again, please stop moving. Then, a woman's voice sounded throughout the prison fortress, all inmates, stand by in place. In just over 10 seconds, the 4 drones had cornered the young man in a part of the corridor, each drone's gun aimed right at him. At the same time, gates opened below in the prison fortress, and 9 robots armed with unnamed firearms were rapidly entering. The young man sat against the wall in terror, while Changchen coldly watched it all unfold. The young man's actions were a bit extreme, but they helped Changchen gather a lot of information. Machine guns, drones, robots, mechanical limbs, countless pieces of information flooded into his mind at once. But what astonished Changchen most was his sudden realization while watching the young man's actions: he might not be the only one from Earth who had come to this place. Not the first, and likely not the last. Chapter 4, please recommend and vote for monthly tickets. Chapter 5, 5. A transcendent status. Changchen had also once wondered whether there were other people whose arms also displayed a countdown. It was precisely because of this speculation that he was so careful and cautious to take the subway to a distant place to verify some things, lest he be tracked down in the future by the clues left behind. But then a series of sudden changes followed one after another, almost causing Changchen to forget his guess. Now it seemed that his speculation had ultimately turned into reality. There must be quite a number of people who had transmigrated from Earth to this world. Just in this prison alone there were 2, let alone the world beyond the prison. How many transmigrators were there? A few hundred? A few thousand? For what reason had they transmigrated? Changchen couldn't be certain. The new guy that came this time is quite interesting, isn't he a fool? Someone laughingly said, watching the collapsing teenager. I heard he was sentenced to 7 years for tax evasion? He didn't cry when he was brought in yesterday, yet only started crying today. Source, novigo.co. Anyone who dares to mess with the tax authority these days, if not a fool, what could he be? Changchen looked toward the source of the voice, which was a young man with mechanical legs. Seeing Changchen look over, he smirked and said, "Hey, newcomer, are you ready?" The surrounding crowd burst into laughter, as if they were all waiting to see a show. This place was so sci-fi and advanced, and yet the dark side of humanity seemed to have changed little. Changchen frowned but did not respond. He turned his gaze back to the young man surrounded by drones. Perhaps only he knew why the young man hadn't cried yesterday and started crying today. Just like Changchen, he had just transmigrated from the greenhouse of Earth and was struggling to accept this new reality. This was not speculation, as he had seen the young man before. Changchen was 17 years old this year, a junior at Los Angeles Foreign Language School. And the collapsing young man was in his freshman year. The two had never interacted, but Changchen had a photographic memory, and it was difficult for him to forget anyone he had seen. This made Changchen somewhat surprised. Could it be that the location before transmigration was close, so the locations after transmigration would also be close? He couldn't be certain. However, Changchen did discover one thing: everyone here spoke Mandarin, and not a single person spoke a dialect. At that moment, robotic guards were charging up the stairs, each step taking them up 5 stairs, accompanied by a distinctive hydraulic transmission sound. The young man was already crying inconsolably. Half the people in this prison fortress had mechanical limbs. In such a place prowled by these steel beasts, encountering someone from Earth felt like meeting a kindred spirit in a foreign land. Ordinarily, when people meet fellow townsmen in a strange place, they feel an inexplicable sense of safety. But Changchen felt no such thing. Looking at the teenager on the verge of collapse, he realized that a townsman might not necessarily be of help but, instead, could become a burden. Not everyone could remain calm in the face of this strange new mechanical civilization. What he needed to do now was to survive the first 2 days after his arrival and then return to Earth to understand what all this was about. Changchen quietly observed everything with a low profile, and for some reason, he felt even more composed at this moment. Until then, all the prisoners remained standing still in their spots. He looked around the prison fortress. Of the 9 robots that had just charged from the outside gate of the cell block, 3 were left in the plaza below to maintain martial law, while the others went upstairs to take the panicked young man away. The plaza downstairs was very spacious, about the size of a soccer field. The open plaza was divided into several areas, a dining area, a fitness and entertainment equipment area, a reading area, a multimedia area, and so on. There were no partitions between these areas, resembling a large open space for activities, and around the edges of the plaza were 8 large steel gates. The gates were so large they seemed to allow armored vehicles to pass directly through. Suddenly, Ching Chen stiffened. He saw that 3 people had appeared at the dining table in the plaza below at some point. A middle-aged man in his 40s was sitting, while 2 young men with smiles stood by his side, then curiously looked up at the prisoners upstairs. In front of the middle-aged man was a chessboard with an endgame set upon it. What was most astonishing was that next to the chessboard on the dining table, there lay a cat with tucked paws dozing off, gray with tufts of pointed hair on its ears, looking a bit like a lynx, but not quite.
Maine Coon cat. You could keep cats in prison?
Xing Chen was somewhat shocked. His attention had been drawn to the townsman so much that he hadn't noticed when these 3 people and the cat had come to the plaza. At this time, the middle-aged man was intently staring at the chessboard, as if unconcerned with what was happening upstairs.
Moreover, what startled Xing Chen the most was that even the robots on the plaza acted as if these 3 people and the cat didn't exist.
The solemnity and tension upstairs contrasted sharply with the relaxed composure downstairs, as if they were 2 distinct worlds. Of the 3, the 2 young men were wearing the typical blue and white striped prison uniforms, while the middle-aged man wore a white exercise suit. In this grim and oppressive environment, that touch of white was exceptionally ethereal.
Xing Chen pondered, could this be the warden? No, that wasn't right.
Although the person was dressed in an exercise suit different from the other prisoners, there was a small black inmate number embroidered on the chest of the suit. This middle-aged man was also a prisoner in the jail, just the most special one of them all. As if he felt his gaze, a young man beside the middle-aged one suddenly turned his head, returning his look with a smiling glance.
Xing Chen immediately looked away.
After the collapsing young man from Earth was taken away, the prison fortress's speakers sounded once more, line up in order and proceed to the cafeteria for your meal. No sooner had the announcement finished than Xing Chen saw all the prisoners turn right and form a long line, advancing towards the square along the stairs. It wasn't until this moment that Xing Chen had the opportunity to count the total number of prisoners, 3102, including himself. There were 7 levels in the prison fortress, with prisoners on each floor forming one team, led by a prisoner at the very front, orderly proceeding to the cafeteria in sequence. During this time, no one cut in line or left the formation. Xing Chen felt as if everyone here was operating according to a pre-programmed procedure, everything restrained by someone. This order persisted until everyone had received their food from the robot server windows. It seemed that after getting their food, they were free to move about. Xing Chen and his fellow inmates resided on the 5th level, so by the time it was their turn to get their food, the people from the 1st level had already finished eating. He saw 2 burly prisoners dragging a young man toward a cell on the 1st floor, closest to the cafeteria, amid a lot of heckling from the crowd. Someone else instructed, hurry up and pull him into the cell, don't injure him in the square, and watch out for the robotic guards intervening. The prisoner dragging the young man responded carelessly, don't worry, I'm not an idiot like Yang Jia. Meanwhile, the young man was struggling fiercely, yelling, let me go. But as he was about to be dragged into the cell, his voice turned to pleading, please, spare me. However, no matter what he said, no one paid attention to his request, which only attracted louder jeers. Suddenly, an old man with mechanical eyes in front of him turned around and grinned, stop looking around.
You'll be up soon.
Xing Chen looked at him calmly, and the old man suddenly felt the gaze from this young newcomer was somehow different. For some reason, he felt an unexpected tightness in his heart.
Formations broke apart after getting their food from the window.
Xing Chen noticed 3 people sidling up towards him as if they intended to take control of him directly. He instantly quickened his pace, and they likewise hastened theirs, surrounding him tightly. In the next moment, the scene in the prison fortress seemed to play in slow motion through Xing Chen's mind. 18 steel beast-like machine guns lay in wait above the dome, like sleeping tigers.
72 drones hung in the alloy ceiling slots, resembling hibernating wasps. 210 surveillance cameras slowly rotated, and 3 robots stood with guns in the square.
Prisoners collected their meals one after another from the windows, some complaining about the unpalatable synthetic meat again. Next to the pool, someone was washing dishes, while others washed dishes for someone else. As more and more inmates finished their meals, the square grew busier, with people shuttling back and forth, some headed to the gym area, others to observe the newcomer ceremony. Yet, everyone subconsciously avoided the middle-aged man staring at the chessboard. The man remained engrossed in the game, with no one approaching within 5 meters, an oasis of calm and solidity amid the tumultuous sea, where all raging waves and boats must retreat. All of a sudden, Xing-Chen, carrying his tray, accelerated through the trio enclosing him, heading towards the middle-aged man.
Seeing his direction, many people quickly realized what this newcomer intended to do.
Gradually, more and more gazes shifted toward him, whispers spreading, and the expressions on the faces of the inmates seemed to anticipate watching a joke unfold. There were many newcomers who found the middle-aged man unusual, and many who wanted to rely on him to escape their predicaments. Xing-Chen was never the only one. But, in fact, all had failed. Yet, Xing-Chen, undeterred by the mocking voices, continued unaffected, holding his tray as he wove through the crowd. Before he could get close, a young man beside the middle-aged one stopped him, smiling as he said, "Newcomer, I know what you're planning, but we won't help you." The man had guessed Xing-Chen's thoughts, and Xing-Chen's gaze drifted past the young man to the middle-aged one beyond. The middle-aged man turned a deaf ear to everything happening around him, as if he heard nothing at all. He looked at the middle-aged man seriously and said, "Forward one with the pawn, I can solve this endgame." Only then did the middle-aged man lift his head, and suddenly the square went quiet, and even the cat opened its eyes. Thank you to Sea Soul Clothing for becoming a Silver City Alliance member of this book. Thank you to Li Rin, Teacher Rin, the mouse who snores, De Binger, the guy who makes sassy comments gets hot reviews, Yen Zuzu, and Wang Jianing for becoming Alliance hierarchs of this book. Chapter 6. The Brave Pawn Crossing the River. Before the middle-aged man looked up, Xing-Chen thought he might be deaf, given that the loud noise nearby hadn't affected him at all. However, after the middle-aged man looked up, Xing-Chen almost thought he himself was deaf because the noisy square had suddenly become silent, without a single extra sound. The astonished expressions in the eyes of the people around, along with an array of inexplicable emotions, seemed to serve as a backdrop for the identity of the middle-aged man. Because in the past, this middle-aged man had never responded to anyone asking for help. Suddenly, Xing-Chen breathed a sigh of relief, as everything proved that he had gambled correctly. The middle-aged man said nothing to him, but calmly moved the red piece forward on the chessboard, advancing it 1 space. The middle-aged man, holding the black pieces, chose to move his elephant from 5 back to 7, capturing the pawn that had just aggressively advanced. Xing-Chen watched the chessboard quietly from afar. This 4 invaders capture the king endgame was known as one of the most perilous setups on Earth. Typically, an endgame meant that the black side was sure to win, with the red side not even able to achieve a draw. Achieving a draw meant solving the endgame. Source: novigo.co. But Xing-Chen was not satisfied with a draw. The 4 invaders capture the king endgame was peculiar, with 4 audacious red pawns having crossed the river to the end line, and both chariots still present. The situation appeared evenly matched at first glance, however, in reality, this endgame was fraught with fatal strategies and traps everywhere. Black needed only 1 move to win the game, while red could only run around frantically. A moment's inattention could lead to them thinking they had secured victory, only to be defeated in a counterattack. This was a position full of hope that could slowly drag a person into despair. "Continue," the middle-aged man said flatly. Xing-Chen said, "Pawn 2 moves to 3. The middle-aged man's eyes brightened, and at that moment, he seemed truly interested. Too lazy to touch the chessboard, he closed his eyes and followed along with Xing-Chen in a game of blind chess. King 6 advances 1. Xing-Chen also closed his eyes. Rear chariot advances 4. Elephant 7 retreats to 9. By the 6th turn, Xing-Chen suddenly said, Chariot 1 advances 7. The middle-aged man, whose eyes had been closed, opened them again, astonished, looking at Ching Chen. Elephant 5 retreats to 7.
During the first 5 moves, back and forth, everything was unremarkable.
But from the 6th step onward, both sides began mercilessly exchanging pieces.
You kill mine. I kill yours.
Blood flowing like rivers, a field of mourning soldiers. The decisiveness and determination on the chessboard were extremely brutal. Both were like the calmest generals on a battlefield, sacrificing everything for the final victory. The 4 invaders' capture the king's setup had fiercely brought out a spirit of valor in them, yet behind this valor lay their deep calculations. At the beginning, Ching Chen's red side, with 4 ferocious pawns crossing the river, looked more aggressive, yet he chose to sacrifice each one for other strategies, keeping only the last one.
Chariot 1 moves to 4. King 4 moves to 5. Cannon 4 moves to 5. Chariot 3 moves to 5. By the 15th move, Ching Chen finally let out a long breath. Pawn 5 advances 1. The dagger was revealed when the drawing was finished. Capture the king. It wasn't until this moment that the charm of solving the chess endgame of 4 invaders capture the king finally burst forth, indescribably fascinating. The situation of mutual annihilation along the Chuan border made the middle-aged man feel as if he were truly on a battlefield, strategizing against a tactician. This game of chess was perilous at every turn. What astonished the middle-aged man most was that, despite his young age, the youth in front of him didn't hesitate at all when sacrificing pieces to alter the game. Not abandoning or giving up is indeed important, but war is war, and how can there be a war without sacrifices? He silently watched the young man opposite him, who was also staring back, his expression solemn and stubborn. It seemed as if he was fighting his way out of a desperate situation, carving out a new path in life. The middle-aged man understood, he was playing a chess game, whereas the opponent was striving to survive in an environment encircled by steel beasts, thus their attitudes were inherently different. No one noticed that at that moment, of the 210 surveillance cameras in this prison fortress, 81 of them directly turned towards Ching Chen. The black camera lenses swirled inward as if focusing on Ching Chen's face. No one knew who was behind the surveillance cameras, focusing in on him. The middle-aged man chuckled and placed the black general upside down on the chessboard. Interesting, not many people know how to play chess these days, let's continue tomorrow. Having said that, he walked towards the library area with his hands behind his back, leaving the chessboard on the dining table untouched by anyone. The gray cat at the table stood up and silently followed behind the middle-aged man. When the cat curled up, it resembled a furry ball, seemingly not large at all. However, when it stretched out, Ching Chen realized that the cat was surprisingly large, over a meter long, and exceptionally agile. Typical cats walk with a light and graceful step known as a catwalk, but this cat moved with the posture of a tiger. Everyone in the square who was watching was stunned. The youth had actually won the game. Honestly, they didn't understand chess, and when it came down to both sides playing blind chess, they understood even less. In this era, there were too many entertainment activities, each more exciting and enjoyable than chess. They could use chips to directly attain pleasure, and even log their consciousness into virtual networks. It was an era where happiness was incredibly cheap. How many could outsmart artificial intelligence in chess? However, their astonishment at Ching Chen winning over the middle-aged man stemmed from the fact that, in their eyes, how could that middle-aged man possibly lose? Whether it was in chess or combat, how could he lose? Honestly, Ching Chen was also puzzled. This middle-aged man clearly did not have mechanical limbs, nor did his 2 companions, yet why was he so highly regarded in this prison rampant with steel beasts? The young man who had blocked Ching Chen earlier winked at him, impressive. My name is Lin Xiaoxiao, and this is Yi Wan. See you tomorrow. After speaking, he and another young man called Yi Wan followed the middle-aged man and left together. At this moment, Ching Chen didn't even know the middle-aged man's name, only the names of the 2 companions, but this was undoubtedly a good start. The tension in the square only began to ease when the middle-aged man, along with Yi Wan and Lin Xiaoxiao, had all gone to the reading area. The prisoner welcoming new inmates was still pulling new arrivals into their cells, including Ching Chun. Out of the 12 newcomers, 9 had already been taken in.
Now, when Chang Chen looked at those prisoners, they no longer considered targeting him. Suddenly, a young man equipped with a mechanical leg ran up to Ching Chen, speaking hastily, "We are both new here, help me, and I'll follow your lead from now on." The surrounding prisoners watched coldly. They were still a bit unclear about the situation. Ching Chen was definitely off limits, but if this young man wanted to protect other newcomers, they were not willing. However, Ching Chen turned a deaf ear to the young man's words, his expression as calm as if he heard nothing at all. The prisoners laughed and forcefully dragged the young man away. Only to hear the young man yell, "My uncle is a director at City 17's Ming Company, you..." Before he could finish speaking, the other prisoners burst into laughter. Apart from the 5 major corporations, other companies are not worth mentioning. Not to mention you, even if your uncle came to this prison fortress, he would have to behave. Ching Chen silently listened to everything, absorbing all the useful information. He had just been identifying the identities of these newcomers, trying to see if there were any other Earth people hidden among them. He himself had crossed over, having no memories belonging to this world, and until now, he didn't even know how many years he had been sentenced. Ching Chen believed that others also lacked memories, so anyone like this young man who could talk about relationships outside the prison probably wasn't from his hometown. Among the 12 new inmates, it seemed that only that broken young man and he were from Earth. For some reason, Ching Chen didn't feel discouraged at all. Instead, he felt somewhat excited about his radically different life. A radically different life. The phrase itself sounded very enticing. When your own life is already a mess, and then someone presents a button in front of you saying, "Press this, and you'll enter an extraordinary life." But pressing it could lead to 2 outcomes. It might be better. Or it might be worse. Would you press it? Ching Chen felt he probably would. On Earth, he always seemed superfluous. His father regarded him as a burden, his mother had a new family, and his relatives seldom interacted with him. Ching Chen had already spent 2 spring festivals alone. So, if your past life was all gloom, then no matter how dangerous, unknown, or terrifying the new world is, it would still be somewhat anticipated. This world was different. For Ching Chen, coming here from Earth felt like a rebellious adventure in life, as well as a liberation from the past. If it hadn't been for this countdown incident, he would have probably focused on his studies, worked hard to support himself, and relied on his unique memory to get into a very good, very distant university, never to return. Yet, that kind of life seemed still somehow uninteresting. He believed that not many people had traveled with him from Earth, and even if there were a few thousand or tens of thousands, it was a very small ratio compared to the total. This made him feel special. Countdown 39 hours 31 minutes and 29 seconds. Ching Chen silently observed his surroundings, intending to record all the information he could see, so that he could slowly analyze it once he was back in his cell alone. Above an alloy gate next to the square, there was a blue holographic projection displaying the bouncing time, M8:29. The 3-dimensional holographic image looked so novel and conspicuous, 8:29 a.m. Just then, a young man took advantage of the moment when others were distracted, and suddenly came over to Ching Chen and whispered, "You finally came in, just as handsome as the legends say. I am Lu Guanyi. Xing Yan arranged for me to come here 3 months ago, you can just call me Xiao Lu." Ching Chen? He paused for a moment and looked at the other person. This young man named Lu Guanyi was about 24 or 25 years old, with short black hair. Both his right arm and left leg were equipped with mechanical limbs, and he even had mechanical eyes. Ching Chen could even see spiral patterns in his eyes adjusting their focus. His mechanical limbs, unlike those of most prisoners, whether it was their streamlined design or their material, appeared to be of high quality. Ching Chen searched his memories, tracing the other's actions. Only then did Ching Chen realize that Lu Guanyi had looked at him 21 times in just over an hour, and that was only the times he fell within his own field of view. Ching Chen did not know who this person was, but the way he spoke, it was clear that he knew him, and he even used honorifics.
From Lu Guanyi's point of view, it seemed I was also in this prison fortress with another agenda. But Qing Chen was afraid of exposing his time travel, so he didn't want to get too involved with Lu Guanyi at the moment. I don't need your help for now, I can handle some things myself. Lu Guanyi's head shook like a bobblehead. No, I must take good care of you. Qing Chen also shook his head. No one's character is nobler than anyone else's, you don't need to use words like serve. At this point, Lu Guanyi said sycophantically, come on, just order me around in the future, just think of me as your lapdog, the foot-licking kind. Qing Chen was speechless. What kind of person would say such utterly shameless things? What if I have athlete's foot? Lu Guanyi, not embarrassed at all, said, then I could lick it better for you. Qing Chen was silent for a long while. Awesome. Even though he was trying very hard to restrain himself from speaking recklessly, he couldn't help but be astounded. Qing Chen was a bit confused now. He had clearly traveled through time with both his body and consciousness, so why were there such bizarre past interpersonal relations? That is to say, did people in this world really think he had been living here for so many years? Seeing that Qing Chen wasn't talking, Lu Guanyi whispered, this morning I was wondering why you hadn't come to find me at the first moment. It turns out you planned to approach Uncle Li Dong as a newcomer, so clever. In this prison number 18 fortress, having Uncle Li Dong's help will make our plan much smoother. Qing Chen. What plan? What are you talking about? Can you be clearer? Lu Guanyi continued as if talking to himself, I've been in here for over 3 months and have gathered a group of useful people for you, don't worry, they won't let you down. The young man was chattering incessantly. Qing Chen felt that Lu Guanyi was a bit of a chatterbox, and he just listened silently, unsure of how to respond. It was like playing Who's the Spy with a blank card, having to wait for everyone to finish speaking before you could talk. Otherwise, if everyone else's word was urine and you were the first to speak, suggesting it was drinkable, that would create a big problem. He searched his mind and remembered that at breakfast, there were vaguely 100 people around Lu Guanyi, each equipped with mechanical limbs. It appeared that these people were the subordinates Lu Guanyi had recruited after coming here. Seeing that Qing Chen still wasn't speaking, Lu Guanyi asked again in a low voice, but be careful with Uncle Li Dong, dealing with such a person is like bargaining with a tiger, and it could put us in a passive position. Sorry, I spoke too much. At that moment, Qing Chen realized that the mentioned Uncle Li Dong was probably that middle-aged man. Lu Guanyi thought he had a mission as soon as he came in and went straight to play chess with Uncle Li Dong. But approaching Uncle Li Dong wasn't for some crappy plan, it was for survival. What instructions did you bring with you this time? Suddenly Lu Guanyi asked. Qing Chen slowly turned to look at the young man. A monk has come from the south. The young man? Qing Chen didn't bother with him any longer and just walked away, leaving Lu Guanyi standing there stunned. A monk has come from the south? What monk? Chapter 6 is up. Please recommend and vote for the month. Thank you, Nan Gangchen, Alpaca Xiaofir Su, God Hidden, by Li Tongyun, and Lonely for becoming chiefs of this book. Creator's thoughts. Lord Bluefire. Footnote 1. Spring Festival, alternatively known as Chinese New Year, is a festival that celebrates the beginning of a new year on the traditional lunisolar and solar Chinese calendar. 2. You here is an honorific, typically used when addressing someone with respect. 3. Who is the Undercover is a game where players have to reveal the undercover among citizens. It assigns citizens with the same word while the undercover has a different but similar word. Mr. White is an additional character who would draw a blank card instead, just like the MC in this case. 4. A llama came to the south. This is part of a Chinese tongue twister. Chapter 7:1. Among the 3,102 inmates, they're now either messing with the new guy or hanging out in the entertainment area. Only a small group is pumping iron in the fitness equipment area. It seems that nobody is really interested in reading. So, at this moment, Uncle Li Dong, Lin Xiaoxiao, and Yuan seem somewhat out of the ordinary. With a mischievous grin, Lin Xiaoxiao squatted on a chair, barefoot, his shoes scattered beside him. Yuan stood rigidly behind Uncle Li Dong, occasionally surveying the surroundings.
Lin Xiaoxiao, with his delicate eyebrows and bright eyes, looked exceptionally clever, while Yuan was relatively more muscular, with a firmer expression on his face. One looked more like a scholar, and the other more like a bodyguard. Seeing Uncle Li Dong finish reading the news, Lin Xiaoxiao said, "Boss, that kid didn't help the other newbies." Uncle Li Dong nodded. "Not helping is normal. He plays chess with decisive ruthlessness, ready to sacrifice his own arm for survival, let alone help others. Playing chess is one thing, I could also dare to sacrifice a piece on the board. So, boss, are you going to continue to play chess with him tomorrow?" Lin Xiaoxiao pondered and asked. Source: novigo.co. Of course, Uncle Li Dong smiled and said, "If not with him, should I perhaps play with you two terrible chess baskets?" In the reading area, Uncle Li Dong sat beside a long wooden table, holding a brand new reader and meticulously browsing through various news from that morning. The big cat once again lay down on the table, seemingly to sleep, as if sleeping in different places was the meaning of a cat's life. This reading area resembled a small library, but instead of paper books on the shelves, there were e-readers charging in slots. The shelves were surrounded by dozens of long tables that could accommodate nearly 1,000 people, but they were eerily empty at the moment. Yuan said in a deep voice, "I'm a bit stronger than Lin Xiaoxiao." But not by much. Uncle Li Dong turned to Yuan and tapped the news on the reader with his finger. "Do you remember Guo Huchan that the Chen Corporation caught? His trial process is completed, and he should be transferred to this prison number 18 in the next few days. You'll contact him when he arrives." Yuan nodded. "I've dealt with him before. Although he's not easy to get along with, at least he's communicative." Uncle Li Dong nodded and then turned to Lin Xiaoxiao. "This morning's breakdown of the newcomer, what do you think?" "I observed him for a long time and something feels off," Lin Xiaoxiao analyzed. "It looked like he was talking nonsense after his breakdown, but when he mentioned Los Angeles City and the Yangli group, he was very certain, as if there was something real about it." "His identity?" Uncle Li Dong asked. "Checked it. Outside, he was just an ordinary high school dropout, a layabout. He worked with the Black Tiger organization in city number 18 dealing in mechanical limbs, suspected of illegal seizure of mechanical limbs but without evidence. In the end, he was sent here for tax evasion. We can trace all his past life experiences, but as for the Los Angeles City and Yangli group he mentioned, really no clue," Lin Xiaoxiao said. No one saw Lin Xiaoxiao look up anything, but it seemed like he had dug up everything about the distressed young man in just an hour. "That's the most astonishing part," Uncle Li Dong said. "Keep an eye on him, there must be something else with this young man. Also, what about the one who was playing chess with me?" Lin Xiaoxiao replied, "You just finished that game. I haven't had the chance to check yet. I'll have an answer for you before lunch break." "All right," Uncle Li Dong nodded and continued to flip through the reader. Lin Xiaoxiao sneaked a glance at Uncle Li Dong and suddenly realized that the boss was taking a special interest in that young man. Just as he was about to continue, Lin Xiaoxiao looked out of the reading area just in time to see Qingchen slowly approaching, carefully examining the surroundings. Qingchen first observed Uncle Li Dong's side, then tried to gently pull a pad-like reader from the shelf and pressed the power button. Qingchen stared at the screen. If there was any way to quickly understand this world, it would surely be to read the books of this world. He hadn't expected that, in this world, even paper books had been phased out, what remained were electronic devices. However, when the reader was turned on, it wasn't an operating interface, but a login screen. Lin Xiaoxiao came over with a light laugh. "First time in prison, huh? If you want to use this reader, you need to register an account with your inmate ID. Once you log in, it will show your recent reading history, your personal bookmarks, and the reading preferences and font size you've set up." Qingchen thought to himself that this gadget was quite user-friendly. Oh, and it also has a built-in artificial intelligence voice. Just call its name, and it can help you find the content you're looking for, like this. Lin Xiaoxiao also pulled out a reader and said, "I am here." A pleasant female voice came from the reader. Qingchen remembered this voice. It was exactly the same as the one that announced mealtimes inside the prison fortress.
The tone was formalized, yet it didn't feel stiff.
Lin Xiaoxiao said to the reader, "Help me find the book Brown.
Okay, Brown has been found for you," the artificial intelligence named you responded.
Look, Lin Xiaoxiao handed her reader to Qing Chen. The book titled Brown had already opened its pages. Qing Chen glanced at his prisoner uniform, the number 010101. After registering, Qing Chen looked towards Lin Xiaoxiao. "Where can I read the news, like the kind you have there?" Lin Xiaoxiao turned to glance at the reader in her boss's hand and then giggled. "Forget it, your reader account doesn't have internet access, not even mine does."
Qing Chen understood. It seemed Uncle Li Dong's status in this prison was truly extraordinary. Just like he could keep a cat in prison.
He no longer said anything but thanked her and then began to read the content on his reader. Lin Xiaoxiao returned to Uncle Li Dong's side and discreetly observed Qing Chen. But she suddenly discovered that Qing Chen was flipping through the reader's pages extremely fast.
Normally, one page of the reader contains 800 characters. A regular person would need at least a minute to read it, right? But Qing Chen was flipping pages every 2 seconds.
Lin Xiaoxiao whispered to Uncle Li Dong, "Boss, he isn't really reading the reader, he probably just wants to get close and seize an opportunity to interact with you." "Don't be nosy," Uncle Li Dong said without even looking up. "Never underestimate someone else's desire to survive. If you were in his place, you'd probably be even more desperate. Xiaoxiao, you need to learn to see things from other people's perspectives."
Lin Xiaoxiao said with a cheeky smile, I know.
Qing Chen found a spot to sit down, continuously memorized the contents of the reader, and then flipped the pages quickly, doing so for over 3 hours, not even changing his sitting position once. To others, reading might be a leisurely pastime after meals, but for him, it was one of the ways to understand the world and survive. The content on the reader was obviously carefully selected, with almost no important information. 95% of the content was philosophy and motivational quotes.
But it didn't matter, any information was important to him now. Qing Chen had always been someone who valued opportunities.
Close to lunchtime, Uncle Li Dong finally set down his reader and logged out of his account.
Yuan standing by understood and took the reader, placing it back into the slot on the bookshelf.
Yuan and Lin Xiaoxiao, they were like Uncle Li Dong's closest attendants. When Uncle Li Dong stood up, he glanced at Qing Chen and felt something was amiss. The young man was so engrossed in reading that he seemed to not even notice him getting up, not like he was acting.
He suddenly asked, "What's the third line on the previous page?"
His voice was smooth and refined, speaking as if one suddenly found themselves in an antique tea room, listening to the earnest teachings of an elder. When order becomes chaos, one must use chaos to maintain order, to save the law, Qing Chen said, looking up. Yuan took the reader from Qing Chen, flipped to the previous page. "Boss, he's right." At that moment, Qing Chen suddenly saw the big cat on the table open its eyes, and he distinctly felt that its gaze was full of surprise as it looked at him. It was as if the cat could understand everyone's conversation and was also astonished by Qing Chen's memory ability. After hearing Yuan's confirmation, Uncle Li Dong paused, then with a smile, called the cat and left. "This is getting more interesting, let's go, it's time for lunch." For some reason, Qing Chen always felt that Uncle Li Dong had a unique demeanor as he walked, his light white exercise suit swaying as if he were stepping on clouds.
Chapter 8. Shadow. How to survive in this prison dominated by steel beasts. Qing Chen couldn't rely on Lu Guangyi, whose origins were unclear, because he feared his identity as a replacement for the original owner would be exposed. He also couldn't rely on other townsfolk from the same time period, as they were in even worse shape than himself. Therefore, Qing Chen candidly revealed his capabilities to Uncle Li Dong to demonstrate that he was someone of use. Without a doubt, Uncle Li Dong was this prison's most transcendent presence, and although this move was risky, it was the best way out. Uncle Li Dong, with his hands folded behind his back, strolled away leisurely while Yuan and Big Cat followed by his side, and Lin Xiaoxiao had disappeared somewhere with a grin. It wasn't even noon yet, not time to start serving meals, but the food window opened early for Uncle Li Dong. Yuan went to get Uncle Li Dong and Big Cat their portions of food,
and Big Cat picked and chose what to eat. Just then, Lin Xiaoxiao popped out from somewhere, kicked off his shoes, and squatted barefoot on the chair opposite Uncle Li Dong's dining table. Source: novigo.co. Big Cat glanced at him, but Yuan frowned and said, "Show some respect in front of the boss." Lin Xiaoxiao rolled his eyes. The boss didn't say anything. "Mother Yi, you're meddling too much." Uncle Li Dong chuckled and said, "It seems you found something?" "Yes," Lin Xiaoxiao said excitedly, "there's so much to find. You know, this Qingchen is squeaky clean outside. I couldn't find a single suspicious clue, but that made me even more curious." "Because he's too clean?" asked Uncle Li Dong. "Yes, exactly, too clean. His records show he's a high school student from City 18, his parents died in a car accident, he inherited some money, no prior records, no criminal background, no relatives," Lin Xiaoxiao said. "What was his crime?" Uncle Li Dong asked. "Theft," Lin Xiaoxiao said. "The records state that he stole a liquid crystal phone that just met the criteria for criminal charges. You know, more than half of the prisoners in cell block 18 are serious offenders, usually with multiple priors or nabbed by tax authorities. A petty thief like him shouldn't be here at all." In just a short while, Lin Xiaoxiao had already gone through Qing Chen's files, a task that would seem almost supernatural to the average person. Lin Xiaoxiao continued, "Moreover, I asked people outside, and his case is controversial. He claims he bought the liquid crystal phone legally and had paid for it, but somehow the seller failed to record the transaction, and the surveillance camera broke, unable to clear his name. So, if the phone seller changes his testimony to support him, or if the surveillance video of him paying surfaces, he could be released immediately. You see, this is a familiar tactic. Most people who take care of things in prison use the same script." Uncle Li Dong thoughtfully asked, "How long was he sentenced?" 6 months, Lin Xiaoxiao replied. "This probably is the shortest sentence in the history of cell block 18, boss. Don't you think this is problematic? And his surname is Qing." The surname Qing is extremely significant in this era, as 5 major companies monopolize nearly all economic veins, and one of them has the Qing surname. And Cheng is also a rare surname, so if you suddenly meet someone with the surname Qing on the street, you would wonder if they are from the Qing's family. "Continue," Uncle Li Dong said with a smile. "You also know that Qing's group recently sent Lu Guangyi in," said Lin Xiaoxiao. "Such things are easy to check. At that time, I just didn't understand why they would send such a small player in. What were they planning to do?" "I remember that Lu Guangyi," Yuan chimed in from the side. "He has been consolidating power ever since he arrived." "Exactly," Lin Xiaoxiao grinned. "After Lu Guangyi came in, he relied on his top-notch mechanical limbs to suppress the local powers in the prison, quickly managing to stand equally against the other 2 factions within a month. I was puzzled then, whether Qing's family sent him to unify cell block 18. "Qing's family knows the boss is here," implied Yuan, meaning that with Uncle Li Dong here, no one could unify the place. Lin Xiaoxiao squinted his eyes, and in his excitement, nearly went on to pick at his toes. "So, I was wondering if Qing's family had gone mad, sending such a small fry to stir up trouble in cell block 18. It wasn't until today that I realized Lu Guangyi was scouting the way for this kid Cheng Chen. Whatever Qing's family plans to do, Qing Chen is the main character, and Lu Guangyi is just a lackey." At that moment, Lin Xiaoxiao began to muse, but what are they after by coming to cell block 18? If this kid Qing Chen really is a direct descendant of the Qing's family, why would he be willing to come here? Uncle Li Dong suddenly said, "Qing's family might be selecting the next shadow." Yuan and Lin Xiaoxiao both froze. The next shadow? Qing Chen is one of the candidates? So he's here on a mission. The massive conglomerate needed both face and substance. The family head of Qing's family was the face, while the shadow was the substance. The shadow specialized in dirty work, held immense authority, and dominated the underworld of Qing's group, uncontrolled by anyone except the family head. However, the selection process for each generation of shadows was exceptionally brutal, much like raising poisonous creatures. "It looks like Qing's family is going to stir up trouble again," Uncle Li Dong lamented. During the conversation, a prisoner accidentally came over, and 5 meters away, Yuan suddenly turned her head to look at him.
The prisoner was so intimidated by her piercing gaze that he involuntarily turned and walked in another direction. Uncle Li Dong and the other two did not continue the topic, and Lin Xiaoxiao changed the subject. Boss, even if he is a shadow candidate, there's no need to make his background so clean, as if he has no connection with Qing's family at all. By this time, everyone was certain that Qing Chen was one of Qing's family's own. At their level, the least believable thing was coincidence. Unless, there's an even bigger secret hidden in Qing Chen's background, Uncle Li Dong said. Boss, have you guessed something? Lin Xiaoxiao asked curiously. Uncle Li Dong shook his head. It's just that after you mentioned it, I suddenly think he looks a bit like someone. An enemy? Or a friend? Have ye Mom and I met him? Lin Xiaoxiao asked curiously. Uncle Li Dong said, you haven't met him, but you will eventually. Xiaoxiao, it would be great if the relationships in this world could be simply divided into friends and enemies. As he spoke, Uncle Li Dong took the gray cat on the table into his arms and gently stroked its chin. The cat comfortably closed its eyes, lazily lying on Uncle Li Dong's lap. He said to Lin Xiaoxiao, I'm more interested in this Qing Chen now, why don't you go and test his character? Lin Xiaoxiao was shocked. Boss, you fancy him? But he is from Qing's family. I'm just asking you to test him out, not to do anything, Uncle Li Dong laughed. Besides, isn't it more interesting to snatch someone from Qing's family's hands? But I feel he's not one of us, Lin Xiaoxiao muttered, looking at her own feet. Uncle Li Dong laughed. An organization needs all kinds of people, the mountain-securing tiger, the far-seeing eagle, the battle-ready wolf, the swift leopard, the loyal dog, each with their own duties. Lin Xiaoxiao's eyes lit up. Boss, what am I in the organization? Uncle Li Dong thought for a moment. The freeloading fish. Yuan calmly said from the side, the stirring stick in shit. Lin Xiaoxiao? Thanks. Welcome to our book and become the leader of our alliance. Big-hearted bosses. May the bosses live as long as the heavens. Chapter 9. Nightmare. I can handle the fish that just go with the flow, but stirring up trouble like this is just nonsense. Lin Xiaoxiao glared at Yuan. I can put up with the boss badmouthing me, but why are you causing a scene? I'm just telling it like it is, Yuan calmly replied. To business now. How do you plan to test the kid? Lin Xiaoxiao thought for a moment, then smiled meaningfully. I'll start by giving him a nightmare. Yuan frowned. Moderation is key. Don't worry. At that moment, there was a commotion at the back of the line where the prisoners were getting their food, and Lin Xiaoxiao looked over. Prison 18 was like a huge empty metal box, with 21 armed robotic guards deployed around the perimeter during mealtime. They lacked human emotions and managed all emergent situations within the prison. Compared to the over 3,000 prisoners, 21 robotic guards seemed too few, but every prisoner knew that the real threats were the drones embedded in the high dome ceiling and the six-barreled metal storm. Source: novigo.co. Cold and powerful. At noon mealtime, all the prisoners arrived on time and lined up in columns outside the cafeteria, then got their food floor by floor. Furthermore, each prisoner had to stand in their assigned spot. Any newcomer who forgot their spot in the line was promptly surrounded by the robotic guards for a warning, and if they failed to return to their place after the warning, the guards would administer an electric shock as punishment before escorting them to their spot. New prisoners who just endured a welcome ritual in the morning were dizzy and couldn't remember where they originally stood, so they ended up being shocked one by one. The veteran prisoners, on the other hand, watched the newcomers make fools of themselves like it was a recurring comedy show. Suddenly, the veteran prisoners felt something amiss. How had the young man who played chess with Uncle Li Dong that morning not been punished? The crowd searched among themselves and then found Qing Chen standing in his own spot, calmly observing everything. It was odd, with each column holding at least 500 people, amid so many unfamiliar faces. How did this young man manage to find his own spot? And Qing Chen, he was sizing up the newcomers who had been imprisoned with him. The newcomers' faces bore no marks of injury, yet their walking postures were extremely peculiar, as if enduring pain.
It appeared the prisoners were restrained in their approach, not hitting the face, and ensuring it wasn't fatal. As he walked forward with his tray, a hand suddenly pulled him out of the food line. Xingchen was startled. He turned to see Lin Xiaoxiao pulling him along and saying, "You don't need to line up with them anymore.
Anyone who can play chess with the boss doesn't need to stand in line." Xingchen instinctively looked towards the robotic guards, fearing that stepping out of line might result in an electric shock. However, he realized the robotic guards completely ignored him and urged the other prisoners to fill his spot. Xingchen couldn't understand. Even if Uncle Li Dong and others had special status, it surely couldn't be to this extent, could it? Lin Xiaoxiao led him through the long rows of queues, getting food, sitting opposite Uncle Li Dong to eat, all in one fluid motion. The surrounding prisoners silently watched this scene, their gazes fixated on Xingchen. The previously noisy environment suddenly quieted down, as if everyone held their breath. At that moment, they realized Xingchen was no longer one of them. Lin Xiaoxiao squatted next to Xingchen's chair and said with a grin, "Don't be surprised. Anyone who can play chess with the boss naturally gets some special treatment. Go ahead, eat, although the food here in Prison 18 isn't good at all." Xingchen looked up at Uncle Li Dong across from him, who was slowly eating his meal without any intent of conversation. He then glanced at the crowd, where Lu Guangyi in the line was quietly giving him a thumbs up. Xingchen didn't understand. Uncle Li Dong had been only willing to play chess with him that morning, but why was there such a significant change in attitude by the afternoon? Was it because of his identity in this world? At 8:40 p.m., Xingchen returned to his cell at the designated time. While the others were lining up to return to their rooms, he tried moving freely out of line, and sure enough, the robotic guards no longer paid him any attention. As long as he was heading toward his own cell, the robotic guards wouldn't focus on him. The prisoners looked at him with envious eyes. Xingchen walked along the long hallway like a lone wolf striking its own path. The single occupancy cell was empty. Once the alley gate closed, he walked toward the wash basin to brush his teeth and wash his face. But he hadn't taken 2 steps before he suddenly felt an overwhelming urge to sleep. This sleepiness was not normal. Even if he had overexerted his mind during the day, it wouldn't be to the extent that his willpower couldn't support him. Something was off. Without further thought, Xingchen collapsed to the floor. In his dream, Xingchen was consciously standing in the living room of a dimly lit villa. At first, he knew it was a dream, and clearly understood that his body was still in the cell. But 2 seconds later, he forgot everything, as if he were meant to be there, no longer recalling that it was a dream. The living room had a fireplace burning wood, filling the room with a unique damp smell as the water content was roasted by the fireplace, rising and condensing on the ceiling. The tall ceiling sported a crystal chandelier, which Xingchen couldn't find the switch for after looking around. The room felt eerie. Xingchen's pupils suddenly constricted. There were bloodstains on the second-floor staircase. On the living room sofa, there were claw marks from a cat. The leather had been torn open by sharp claws, creating several splits. On the fireplace mantel, there was a picture frame with its glass shattered, and the photo was nowhere to be found. On the wall, there were grayish-blue marks from a knife cut, and as the flames in the fireplace flickered, those marks on the wall and the cracks on the sofa seemed to twist eerily. On the carpet, there lay a blood-stained dagger. Someone had written 2 conspicuous characters in blood on the floor next to the carpet, "Ghost." Thud, 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 there came a knocking at the door. Xingchen took a deep breath. He hadn't touched anything inside and walked to the door. "Who is it?" A relaxed voice came from outside. "Police, badge number 27149. "Did you call the police? Please open the door." Xingchen frowned. The voice sounded familiar, yet he couldn't recall where he had heard it before. Strange, was there something wrong with his memory power? He hesitated but opened the door. Outside stood a young police officer holding a case file. As soon as the door was opened, the officer saw blood flowing down from the staircase leading to the second floor. He quickly ascended the stairs while saying, "The person who called, please don't move from your spot, and lock the door."
Xingchen was puzzled. The police officer's procedure seemed improper and he wasn't even carrying a gun. But for some reason, he subconsciously followed the instructions. The young police officer went upstairs, and Xingchen remained standing at the door. Not even half a minute had passed when there was another knock on the door.
Xingchen asked, "Who is it?" "Police, badge number 27149.
"Did you call the police?"
"Please open the door." Xingchen startled, hadn't badge number 27149 already gone upstairs? Then who was outside the door? At that moment, a ghastly voice in his subconscious asked him, "What would you do now?" Guess, between the inside and the outside of the door, which one is real? Or maybe, neither are real.
The police officer outside was urging, "Hello, please open the door." Xingchen took another deep breath and walked back into the house. He tried to pick up the blood-stained dagger from the floor, but there seemed to be a transparent barrier between him and the dagger. He was only a step away from the dagger, yet he could never touch it.
Someone didn't want him to take the knife. Someone wanted to trap him here.
Yet the countdown on his arm was still ticking, and his heart and blood were still beating and flowing. He had come to this cold mechanical world alone and unattached, with no way back. "Get out of the way," said Xingchen in a cold tone, his pupils constricted again as if he harnessed all his courage into a blade to cut through something. A strange sound of glass breaking echoed in the emptiness of the living room, and the barrier between him and the dagger shattered.
Someone let out a soft "huh."
Xingchen picked up the knife and turned towards the staircase.
Suddenly, a voice from nowhere asked him, "What are you doing with the knife? Aren't you going to open the door for the officer?" Xingchen answered coldly, "Wait till I kill the one inside, then I will." Lin Xiaoxiao?
At that moment, Xingchen finally remembered. When he broke the barrier while picking up the knife, he also broke the nightmare's block on his memory. He recognized the voice as Lin Xiaoxiao's, and the young police officer was also remodeled after Lin Xiaoxiao. He was in a nightmare created by Lin Xiaoxiao. It seemed like this world was getting more interesting. Asking for monthly votes, I feel like with a new book I could make it into the top 10.
All depends on you. Also, starting tomorrow, new updates every evening at 6 p.m. Thanks to Penguin in the North Pole. Headmaster loves tea. Shy actor. Ash drifting down gloomily. These 4 bosses have become patrons of the Silver City Alliance. Generous bosses. May your fortune be as vast as the Eastern Sea and your life as long as the Zhongnan Mountain. Chapter 10:10. Use fire. Lin Xiaoxiao was the one who created nightmares for Xingchen. This world has never been solely about mechanical civilizations, it has always harbored even more mysterious civilizations up to this point. And tonight, Lin Xiaoxiao created this nightmare entirely based on Uncle Li Dong's instruction, wanting to test what kind of person Xingchen really was. In this nightmare named Twin Ghosts Dilemma, Lin Xiaoxiao wanted to test Xingchen's courage and ability to withstand pressure, but he hadn't expected that Xingchen's reaction could no longer be judged simply by his courage or resilience. He suddenly realized that in times of crisis, this young man would undoubtedly confront the situation with the fiercest and calmest attitude. At this moment, Xingchen showed no signs of trembling, nor did he exhibit the desperate valor common to ordinary people when they fight back. The only thing that emanated from him was calmness. However, Lin Xiaoxiao couldn't understand why, although he was clearly preventing the other from picking up the dagger, Xingchen suddenly broke free from the nightmare's restraints. After all, this was Lin Xiaoxiao's home ground. By then, Xingchen had already realized that he no longer needed to go upstairs to kill someone. He spoke to the empty living room. Lin Xiaoxiao? Source, novigo.co. The nightmare hadn't dispersed, and Lin Xiaoxiao, wearing a police uniform, came down from upstairs with a smile. How strange, you can still maintain clarity in this nightmare. The boss was right, you really are exceptional. Why? I don't think I've offended you, Xingchen was puzzled. Because the boss values you, I need to find out what kind of person you are.
But now it seems that the nightmare might be ineffective against you, Lin Xiaoxiao explained, sitting on the bottom step of the stairs.
Is this your special ability? Xing Chen asked.
Yes, Lin Xiaoxiao shrugged. Just like you have a photographic memory, I have my abilities, and there's really nothing to hide. Xing Chen felt that this world was becoming even more mysterious in his mind. The coexistence of mechanical and mystical studies in the world did not scare him, on the contrary, it piqued his interest even more. And the events that were unfolding were probably why Uncle Li Dong and others held such an extraordinary status in this prison.
Xing Chen wanted to explore all this and desired to possess it even more.
Seeing Xing Chen deep in thought, Lin Xiaoxiao took the initiative to ask, "Are you from Qing's group?"
Xing Chen didn't answer the question directly but instead asked, "Is it because of the assumption about my identity that I receive special treatment? Why do the mechanical jail guards not care about you?"
Naturally, it's because the boss is special enough that the mechanical jail guards don't bother us, Lin Xiaoxiao said. You don't need to change the subject. Back to your identity. Last night I found a surveillance video of you talking to Lu Guangyi, who was sent here by Qing's.
He was eager to contact you, so I am certain you are from Qing's group. Qing's group. Xing Chen noted these 4 words. At that moment, he felt more relaxed. The other party had vast connections in this prison, whereas he felt like a child just learning to walk in comparison. If that was the case, then there was no need to be too nervous. Since they still wanted to engage with him after figuring out his situation, it indicated that they too had demands. Xing Chen sat on the worn sofa and asked with a focused tone, "Since you are certain I am from Qing's group, why extend an olive branch to me? Our organization doesn't care about background, anyone who shares our ideals can join," Lin Xiaoxiao said smilingly. Of course, they must qualify.
Xing Chen was momentarily taken aback, realizing all this was actually an assessment to see if he qualified to join. He had thought they wanted to collaborate with the power behind him.
You want to recruit me? Xing Chen asked, puzzled. I didn't say you qualify yet.
Honestly, I feel you are not one of us, Lin Xiaoxiao said, but the boss said our organization needs all sorts of people, visionary eagles, mountain-steadying tigers, battle-ready wolves.
Everyone has their use. Then what role do you play in your organization? Xing Chen asked.
Lin Xiaoxiao didn't want to answer, he just smirked mysteriously and said, "Guess?"
Xing Chen thought for a moment and said, "The production team's donkey?" Lin Xiaoxiao? What the heck? It's not even as good as a swimming fish.
At this moment, Lin Xiaoxiao suddenly realized that the other party was completely relaxed while facing this unknown nightmare and unknown self, and was effortlessly navigating it. This teenager was only 17 years old. Lin Xiaoxiao curiously said, "Qing's group arranged for Lu Guangyi to come here with such fanfare, and then they arranged for you to come here. What exactly do you guys want to do, or what are you looking for?"
Xing Chen thought to himself, if I say I don't even know why I'm here, you certainly wouldn't believe me. This matter, you've got to ask Lu Guangyi. To be honest, Xing Chen was also pondering whether he should find Lu Guangyi to clarify the reasons and consequences. However, just thinking about Lu Guangyi, with his nagging and fawning demeanor, gave him a bit of a headache.
"It's alright if you don't want to talk, I'll figure it out sooner or later," Lin Xiaoxiao said. "Alright, get some rest. You'll have to play chess with the boss tomorrow morning." No sooner had the words left his mouth than Xing Chen's vision darkened, and he was pulled out of the nightmare. He slowly got up from the prison cell floor and lay on the cold bed, not knowing what to think. He looked at the thick alloy gate, beyond which was a cold and mysterious world.
Return countdown 20 hours 59 minutes and 21 seconds. Return countdown 20 hours 59 minutes and 20 seconds.
Early in the morning, as usual, Uncle Li Dong sat by the dining table, silently studying a chess endgame. It wasn't yet time for the prisoners to leave their cells, and the whole prison was quiet. Lin Xiaoxiao crouched in his chair and said, "Boss, I tempted him last night using the double ghost dilemma, and guess what? He was ready to pull out a knife and kill one, such intense murderous intent."
Yiwan frowned, "I told you to be moderate." Ordinary people can easily break down in the double ghost dilemma.
Don't worry, Lin Xiaoxiao replied irritably, I didn't go through with it.
Besides, you don't know, that kid actually managed to escape my control in the nightmare.
Oh? Uncle Li Dong looked up. I confirmed he's just an ordinary person.
It's quite special that an ordinary person could escape your control in the nightmare.
Even the big cat resting with its eyes closed on the table glanced curiously at Lin Xiaoxiao.
Yiwan asked, how did he manage that?
I'm not sure, Lin Xiaoxiao shook his head. Perhaps he has a strong will. Uncle Li Dong did not delve deeper into the matter. Others too had managed to break free from the constraints of nightmares. Crouching, Lin Xiaoxiao said, Boss, I still advise you to think carefully.
Xing Chen is quite murderous, not our kind of person at all.
Uncle Li Dong suddenly laughed, we lost so many colleagues for this cause, and even the three of us are trapped in this prison. So you see, Xiaoxiao, we can't use gentleness to combat the dark, we need fire.
As he spoke, Uncle Li Dong's expression turned somewhat somber. Yiwan, bring me the harmonica. Dinner time was approaching, and the prison gradually became noisy.
The sounds from the steel beasts behind the alloy gates, like boiling water starting to bubble. But suddenly, a melodious harmonica sound rose above the prison square, soothing to the soul. The sound of prisoners banging on the cell doors gradually ceased, and everyone listened quietly, as if someone had poured fresh spring water into a dried-up wasteland.
Chapter 11, Farewell.
The melody of the harmonica was captivating. Moreover, there seemed to be an inexplicable rhythm mixed within the harmonica's sound, surpassing ordinary music. It was like the feeling the nightmare had given to Qingchen last night. But while all the prisoners were immersed in the wonderful music, Qingchen simply couldn't suppress his inner shock and astonishment. Because he had heard this tune before.
Send off. Outside the long pavilion, by the ancient road, the lush grass blends with the sky. Qingchen's pupils gradually contracted. Wasn't this the world he had traversed into? Why would there also be send-off here?
He once thought, the moment he encountered the mechanical civilization, that it should have no relation to Earth. But now it seemed he was wrong.
Could this be Earth's future? Source, novigo.co.
Qingchen began to search his memories, trying to find clues in the books he had read in the reading area yesterday. But the result disappointed him again, those self-help books and philosophy could not aid him. The harmonica stopped, and the din returned to prison 18.
At some point, Qingchen suddenly felt like this prison was a beast battle arena. Behind each alloy gate, there lurked steel beasts representing various desires.
When the gates opened, he no longer felt as green and watchful as on the first day, but walked straight past the lined-up prisoners toward the plaza downstairs. His unilateral action did not attract the drones above him, nor did the robotic guards give him an extra glance. Just outside the canteen, Lin Xiaoxiao greeted him with a beaming smile, Good morning.
Did you not sleep well?
At that moment, Qingchen, with dark circles under his eyes, coldly looked at Lin Xiaoxiao, thinking, Don't you know if I could sleep well or not? Some say a dream lasts only about 8 minutes, which is extremely brief in the span of a lifetime. However, after Qingchen awoke from the nightmare yesterday, he checked his countdown and found that the nightmare had trapped him for over 2 hours. He couldn't feel the passage of time while in it. Furthermore, after freeing himself from the nightmare, he had lain in bed pondering many things until he finally fell into a deep sleep around midnight. Even though Qingchen had a photographic memory, he was still essentially an ordinary person, unlike Lin Xiaoxiao who belonged to a special group of people. He couldn't stay up for most of the night and still be as lively the next day.
Uncle Li Dong glanced at Qingchen's complexion and said, Ordinary people come out of nightmares greatly weakened and listless for half a day.
But you're different, you broke free from Xiao Zhao's control and picked up a dagger in the nightmare.
Standing here today is already quite impressive. Qingchen sat down opposite him and directly asked, how to become someone like him.
Uncle Li Dong laughed and said, You are quite frank, but you can't take his path. Instead, you're more suited to take mine. At that remark, Ching Chen distinctly noticed a change in Yuan and Lin Xiaoxiao's expressions. For some reason, he suddenly felt the atmosphere grow more solemn. Even the napping big cat raised its head to look at him. He was curious about Uncle Li Dong's path. But judging from Lu Guangyi's attitude towards Uncle Li Dong, this person must be very famous outside, so many people should know what Uncle Li Dong's path is. As a transmigrator, babbling some nonsense might still be safe, but asking a question lacking common knowledge could be fatal. Ching Chen skipped the confusion and asked again, "How can I follow your path?" "You've misunderstood," Uncle Li Dong said, smiling. When Uncle Li Dong smiled, the traces of time at the corners of his eyes revealed to Ching Chen that his age might be greater than he had imagined. Uncle Li Dong continued, "Yuan and Lin Xiaoxiao were a bit late when they met me, so they couldn't follow my path. And even though I appreciate you now, you aren't there yet." "Understood," Ching Chen nodded. This only made sense. He felt that if someone showed immediate kinship and then imparted all they knew to him, that person might be highly questionable. It might not be an opportunity he was facing, but a danger. However, for Ching Chen, just being able to touch the edge of that mysterious world was already enough. It was something he had daydreamed about before, something that didn't exist on Earth. Now, he was very close to those things. "What do you say, will you play chess today?" Uncle Li Dong looked at Ching Chen. "You don't seem to be in a good mental state, why don't we take a day off? The most important thing about playing chess is to have a worthy opponent. It would be meaningless to win while you're not at your best." As the prisoners lined up for their meals, more and more of them began to freely move about the dining room. Today was different. Many prisoners were eating while paying close attention to the commotion over at Ching Chen's side. There were even some who stood up with their trays, eyes glued to the chessboard. In reality, not many prisoners here understood how to play Chinese chess, as it was already an entertainment activity out of its time. But since Uncle Li Dong liked it, everyone felt it necessary to pay attention. What if they also had a natural talent for chess and were noticed by Uncle Li Dong? Of course, this was just wishful thinking, and most people paid attention to the chess game simply because they had too much time on their hands. Before, when Uncle Li Dong studied endgame problems alone, no one dared to stare over here, but now with Ching Chen playing against him, the atmosphere seemed to have become much more relaxed, and Yuan no longer shot sharp looks at people. Meanwhile, Lu Guangyi, too, watched with great interest, a crowd following him as if he were the center of the universe. Lu Guangyi quite enjoyed this. On either side of the chessboard, Uncle Li Dong waited for Ching Chen's response, while Chang Chen stood up calmly and said, "No need to rest. For the Defiant Emperor chess endgame, move the chariot from 2 to 5, advance the chariot from 5 to 7, slide the cannon from 2 to 8, move the chariot from 5 to 6, advance the pawn from 4 by 1. Chinese chess is about back-and-forth moves, but this time Chang Chen simply announced his moves in one go, as if he had already predicted that Uncle Li Dong would follow along, pushing the game quickly to its conclusion. Ching Chen's red chariot enticed the black general in conjunction with the final move of advancing the pawn from 4, resulting in a checkmate. This was an ingenious move seldom conceived by ordinary people. Others might not understand what Ching Chen was talking about, but Uncle Li Dong certainly did. There was only this one way to break the Defiant Emperor chess endgame. Uncle Li Dong looked up at Ching Chen and inverted his own black general on the chessboard. "I thought you were not in good shape mentally. I would have won by taking advantage of your condition, but it seems I worried unnecessarily." In the crowd, Lu Guangyi's underlings heard him muttering, "He won again, that's just too cool." No matter in what aspect, just winning once against a person like Uncle Li Dong would make a lifetime worthwhile. "I want to learn chess too." The newly recruited underlings didn't understand why Lu Guangyi would be interested in something like chess. It was well known that although Lu Guangyi's combat power stood out in prison number 18, his cultural level was definitely at the bottom. At that moment, Ching Chen looked at Uncle Li Dong and asked, "May I ask you a question?" Thank you to Li Dongza, the Dancing Sword, and students who go by Electric 4 becoming leaders of this book. Bosses have such generosity. May your fortune be as vast as the eastern seas and your lives as enduring as the southern mountains. Chapter 12, Regression. Yi Wan, who was standing by, dispersed the onlookers upon hearing this, allowing the two to talk in peace.
As a reward for just winning that game? That's fine, Uncle Li Dong replied. Was it you who played the harmonica just now? Qing Chen asked.
Yi Wan and Lin Xiaoxiao were noticeably taken aback. They thought Chang Chen would use winning the chess game as an opportunity to inquire about something significant, yet it turned out to be just about the song? The song was pleasant to hear and had not been circulated outside, but it didn't seem worth wasting such an important opportunity over. Uncle Li Dong, with a smile brimming in his eyes, looked up and said, "It was me."
"Why, is it the first time you've heard this melody?" Xing Chen thought for a moment and responded, "It's very nice."
Uncle Li Dong, seeing that the crowd had dispersed, nodded and answered, "It was composed by the founder of our organization, and he also wrote the lyrics."
Xing Chen was stunned for a long time and couldn't speak. He really wanted to say, "I guess your founder might be from Earth." Source, novigo.co. And it seems that this founder was somewhat shameless, passing off a carried-over song as his own work. Wait, how long has Uncle Li Dong's organization been established, and when exactly did that transmigrating predecessor transmigrate? Qing Chen then asked, "Can you sing it for me in its entirety? I want to listen." Uncle Li Dong said, "Sure, but the lyrics for this piece aren't too complete. Over the long passage of time, some things inevitably get lost in that long river." "It's okay, I just want to listen," Qing Chen said. He wanted to confirm whether the song's lyrics were the same as on Earth. Uncle Li Dong took the big cat from the table into his arms and sang softly, "Outside the long pavilion, beside the ancient road, fragrant grass reaches the sky, evening breeze brushes the willow, flute notes are fading, sunset beyond the mountain peaks. At the edge of the sky, at the corner of the earth, separations are often many." After finishing his song, Uncle Li Dong laughed and said, "The phrase separations are often many was added later. It is said that it wasn't like this originally, but no matter how it's revised, it seems to lack a certain meaning." Xing Chen stood for a long time before suddenly suggesting, "How about replacing it with 'half of my dear friends have scattered'?" "Half of my dear friends have scattered?" Uncle Li Dong was briefly stunned. For some reason, he felt that only these 5 words were truly fitting for this song. "Farewell, farewell, people are like the afterglow of the setting sun, dear friends are far horizons. Once young, laughing heartily while drinking freely, life as intense as high summer. But it's unknown which farewell could be the last, never to meet again." Uncle Li Dong seemed to be sitting in this prison, watching the orange-red sun fall into the horizon, while a friend was waving to him from afar. After waving, he turned and walked away. "Thank you," Uncle Li Dong said. "That's a good addition, it's as if it were the original lyrics of the song." "You're welcome," Xing Chen said, unabashedly accepting the praise. Uncle Li Dong said with some yearning, "Sometimes I'm truly amazed. Our founder was an extraordinary genius. Back then, his songs and lyrics were as numerous as hairs on an ox, each one a classic that should have lasted through ages, but they were all lost at the end of the last era, leaving only this one song." "Only one song left? That really is a pity," Xing Chen thought to himself, as Uncle Li Dong outright mentioned the last era. Perhaps the transmigrating predecessor had come over a very, very long time ago. An era is not a unit of time, but the beginning of a new civilization. It seemed that the humans here had gone through the transition of an era, but it was unclear what had happened. There's another one of which only the name is known, but the melody is completely unknown. Our predecessors searched many ruins but couldn't find the score, Uncle Li Dong said, shaking his head. Xing Chen hesitated for 2 seconds, then tentatively asked, "What is the name of that song?" Uncle Li Dong glanced at him and said, "Canon." If before Chang Chen was skeptical about the identity of this founder as a transmigrator, now he was completely certain. However, canon is actually a musical genre and technique. The canon technique is used in many symphonic works, such as Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 and Bach's canon variations. But if it was directly carried over from Earth, the melody would likely be Pachelbel's Canon in D.
Xing Chen wondered if by giving the score of canon to Uncle Li Dong, whose regard for the founder was so high, whether he might earn a path beyond the ordinary. He was uncertain, and even unable to explain where he would get the score from. He'd better wait, as he didn't remember Canon's score for now and would weigh the matter after returning. After the conversation, Xing Chen went straight through the crowd to the reading area. He desperately needed to catch some sleep, even if it meant skipping meals to rest first. Only by staying fully alert could he analyze the situation around him at all times. Yet just as he had barely lain on the table in the reading area, Lu Guangyi approached cautiously. Lu Guangyi wanted to talk to Xing Chen but feared being seen, so he paced outside the reading area in distress. Xing Chen looked up expressionlessly at him. "Don't be so careful, Uncle Li already knows about you and me. But don't worry, he doesn't seem to mind. Also, go do your own thing, don't disturb me." Prison 18 was full of surveillance, and inmates had to hide in their cells to hold welcome ceremonies for new arrivals, so sleeping in the reading area was safe. Xing Chen actually wanted to engage Lu Guangyi in conversation and figure out what the Qing's family had planned. But seeing that his return was imminent, he didn't want to stir up trouble unnecessarily. So he sent Lu Guangyi away first, planning to consider how to get information from him after returning. However, Lu Guangyi did not leave. Instead, he muttered softly, "Boss, I've been thinking for the longest time and still don't know what to call you. Boss just rolls off the tongue best. I guess you've heard about me from Qing Yan. Life hasn't been easy for me since I was young. My father even took my kidneys to exchange for money with rich people, replacing them with artificial ones. If my own parents don't care about me, who would? When I heard from Qing Yan that it was you who named me to scout ahead, because you saw something in my abilities, I was over the moon. Rest assured, I, Lu Guangyi, will go through fire and water for you, and would gladly die for you if it comes to that. But before I die, there's one regret. You know I haven't had much education, but ever since I was a child, I've admired those with knowledge." Xing Chen finally couldn't help it. "What on earth are you trying to say? Lu Guangyi, could you teach me how to play chess?" "Why do you want to learn chess?" Xing Chen was taken aback. "Because it's cool." Lu Guangyi exclaimed, "Boss, even someone like Uncle Li Dong would become a pawn defeated by your hand, isn't that cool? Is winning a game or two at chess that prestigious?" Xing Chen shook his head. "Of course, I can't beat him in a fight, but if I can win against him in a game of chess, that's also very prestigious," asserted Lu Guangyi matter-of-factly. This did touch Xing Chen for a moment. It seemed, from what Lu Guangyi implied, that Uncle Li Dong's combat power was quite formidable. Lu Guangyi continued, "I really didn't expect that after you came here, you'd be able to get acquainted with Uncle Li Dong and get along with him so well. Given his status in prison number 18, maybe he even knows where the object we're looking for is hidden. And, should you inherit his legacy, the battle for the shadow might just be in the bag." This statement was laden with information, finally enlightening Xing Chen about his purpose here, to find an object. And he was embroiled in a competition. However, Xing Chen still didn't know what Uncle Li Dong's legacy was, only that it was extremely important. Xing Chen thought about it and said, "All right, I'll teach you chess. Can you step away from me now, please?" Sure. Lu Guangyi scampered off to the entertainment area immediately. Nighttime, countdown 5 minutes. Xing Chen sat on the cold bed, quietly watching the white countdown on his arm. Inside the countdown, gears slowly turned, with only the last 5 minutes left until his return. He wasn't sure if he would come back here again. 2 days felt like a dream to him, having met a few people and witnessed a different world. The unique characteristics of Lin Xiaoxiao and Uncle Li Dong had made him anticipate this world. It was as if a new world had opened its doors to him. Xing Chen thought about it and then used the end of his toothbrush to carve the indentation of the words "was here" into the wooden bed planks with force. Then he twisted a bruise onto his arm, wanting to see if returning to Earth with an injury would change anything. Countdown. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3.
2. 1. The world shattered once more, and familiar darkness finally arrived. Returning. Only 800 votes away from the top 10 monthly tickets, charge. Thanks to student Huan Yu for becoming the Silver City Alliance of this book. The boss is magnificent, with fortune vast as the eastern sea and life as enduring as the Mount of South. Chapter 13. Someone. Compared to the panic before his last time travel, Xing Chen had become much calmer this time around. He waited for the world to shatter and reassemble, as if waiting for a dream to end. In the cramped and narrow bedroom, Xing Chen still sat on the edge of his bed in the same position as before his time travel, with the night outside and the boning knife he had been holding, still in his hand. Everything seemed as if nothing had happened. Xing Chen frowned and took out his mobile phone to check the time. 2022, September 28, 12 hours and 1 second. 1 second past midnight. He clearly remembered that the date of his time travel was also September 28, and the exact time was 12 hours. Thus, he had spent 2 days in that world, yet here on Earth, only 1 second had passed. Source, novigo.co. By the same logic, when he returned to this side, would only 1 second have passed there by the time he went back? That must be the rule for all transmigrators. For some reason, Xing Chen felt relieved at this thought. It meant he didn't have to come up with an explanation for his frequent disappearances anymore. It was a very peculiar sense of detachment, as if the world he was now in wasn't real anymore. Xing Chen looked down at his arm. The artificial bruise of dark purple he had made was still there. On his other arm, the white pattern had changed, displaying a countdown of 47 hours 59 minutes and 45 seconds. Countdown 47 hours 59 minutes and 44 seconds. This time, the countdown was for 48 hours, which was right, it meant 2 days. Only these could prove that everything he had experienced was real. He really had been to a mechanical civilization and had met a person named Uncle Li Dong, was tested with a nightmare by someone called Lin Xiaoxiao, and had encountered a fawning sycophant named Lu Guangyi. There was a composed Yuan and a strange big cat. As Xing Chen pondered, his phone suddenly rang with an unfamiliar landline number. "Hello," Xing Chen said. "Hello, this is Royal City Police Station speaking. Your father has been detained for organizing gambling activities. Please come over," a female voice said on the other end of the line. Xing Chen was startled for a moment. By his calculations, his gambler father would have been caught not too long ago. He didn't expect the police station to call him this quickly. What do I need to do?" Xing Chen asked. According to the Public Security Administration punishments law, he needs to be detained and fined. "Please come to handle the procedures," said the officer on duty at the police station. "I'm sorry, but I won't be coming. Please punish him severely." According to the Public Security Administration punishments law, those with severe offenses are subject to detention for more than 10 days but less than 15 days, in addition to a fine of not less than 500 yuan and not more than 3,000 yuan. Please issue the maximum penalty. "Thank you," Xing Chen said as he shook his head. The person on the other end was taken aback. "Aren't you his son?" "I reported the case." "I'm not his son, I'm the concerned citizen, Mr. Qing," replied Xing Chen. The officer on duty was perplexed. Without hesitation, Xing Chen hung up the phone. With his gambler father detained for at least 10 days, that meant he wouldn't have to see him before his next journey through time. For some reason, Xing Chen actually felt a bit happy and relieved at this thought. However, for a young man, the experience of a father being detained and publicly chastised is not an easy one to bear. Most young men take their fathers as role models during their adolescent years. When you discover that your father has no dignity and a record of misconduct, it's like a load-bearing wall and your heart suddenly collapses. Taking a deep breath, Xing Chen slowly lay down on the bed. He opened his phone to check his call log in WeChat but didn't see any messages from his mother. For some reason, at that moment, he even wanted to return to the prison sooner. Even though it was an unknown and dangerous world.
It was past 1 in the morning, and Xingchen had no desire to sleep. In the dimly lit room, only the glow from his cell phone screen illuminated his cheeks. The cell phone screen displayed the canon score he had just found, every detail of which he had memorized. To Uncle Li Dong, this piece was a lifelong regret, but for Xingchen, it had come effortlessly. Perhaps this was the difference between worlds, as the other person also possessed something Xingchen had longed for in his dreams. But should he give the score to Uncle Li Dong? If so, how would he explain the origin of the score? There was risk involved in this matter, and although Xingchen wasn't afraid of taking risks, he was afraid that the risks he took wouldn't be worthwhile. Therefore, before giving the score, he had to be certain of Uncle Li Dong's worth. In the end, he still hadn't received a call or message from his mother. First day of the countdown, 7:30 in the morning. Xingchen dressed in his blue and white school uniform and stepped out, nibbling on instant noodles as he walked. The Los Angeles foreign language school he attended had been divided into 3 campuses in recent years, and the high school section was just a 5-minute walk from his home, reached simply by crossing a small road. On Xingshu Road, the breakfast stands wafted the aroma of egg-filled pancakes, with passers-by sitting down at the small stalls to eat a bowl of steaming tofu pudding or spicy soup. The freshly fried dough sticks were golden and crisp, and tea eggs were smooth and translucent once peeled. But Xingchen had no money on him. His modest savings had been spent on supplies for that countdown moment. Even now, the thought made his teeth ache, but he had no regrets. Who knew what he would have to face then? Class 3, grade 11, students accounted for cleaning were sweeping the classroom, and the fishy smell of water on the floor hadn't even dissipated, the mop probably musty from long use. Xingchen sat at the last row when his deskmate, Nan Gengchen, rushed into the classroom, looking nervous. "Did Teacher Du say anything after seeing me skip class yesterday?" Xingchen asked in a low voice. But Nan Gengchen seemed distracted and as if he hadn't heard anything. "Huh? What?" "Never mind," Xingchen shook his head. "Why do you look so panicked?" "Panicked?" Nan Gengchen startled and then denied. "No, I'm not." Xingchen said nothing more. If the other didn't want to talk, there was no need for him to probe further. After a moment of silence between them, Nan Gengchen suddenly asked in a lowered voice, "Xingchen, what would you do if you encountered something really strange?" "Strange?" Xingchen was taken aback and then scrutinized Nan Gengchen carefully. After hesitating for a moment, he asked, "What exactly do you mean?" "I don't know what it is, just something really strange," said Nan Gengchen. "Then call the police?" Xingchen's gaze remained locked on Nan Gengchen. Nan Gengchen's eyes lit up. "Right, the police." "Xingchen, does your family know anyone in the station?" "Yes," Xingchen thought for a moment and then said, "My dad just got arrested last night for gambling in a group." Nan Gengchen? Chapter 14. If fortune comes, do not forget each other. Nan Gengchen looked at Xingchen, startled for a moment. "Big brother, I wanted to ask the police uncle at the police station for help, but like Uncle Li being captured, that's not going to help much." "Then there's nothing we can do." Xingchen shook his head and asked further, "Have you encountered something very strange?" "What exactly happened?" It's nothing, Nan Gengchen clammed up about it. Xingchen stopped talking. If the other party didn't want to talk about it, he could only pretend to be unaware. However, he had a vague guess in his heart. The strange thing Nan Gengchen mentioned, could it be that a countdown also appeared on his arm? But the countdown wasn't visible to others, so Xingchen could only guess. His own first transmigration countdown appeared last night at 6 o'clock. He skipped class immediately and didn't attend the evening self-study. At 12 o'clock at night, he went through his first transmigration. If Nan Gengchen really had a countdown appear on his arm, when would it have appeared? Source: novigo.co. Xingchen thought that Nan Gengchen, being thin and small, looked fragile, and wondered if he could survive if he really transmigrated to that world. Their relationship was quite good, not because their personalities meshed so well, but because both of their fathers gambled, resulting in both of their families not being very well off. They became closer after talking about this matter by chance. Just then, a classmate who was playing with their phone suddenly exclaimed, "Holy shit!" It wasn't time for class yet, and there were only about a dozen students in the classroom of high school's second grade class 3.
Everyone turned their attention to the student. What happened?
Guys, check out the trending search. Jacob held a press conference, saying he traveled to a mechanical civilization world. The complete video of his press conference is on the hot search, the shouting student explained. Jacob, an American citizen, was one of the world's most famous basketball stars, with many fans. Hearing this, the classmates immediately turned on their phones to check the trending searches, all of them baffled. Only Ching Chen was stunned on the spot, because he knew what this so-called transmigration and mechanical civilization was about. But he hadn't really thought before that people abroad were also experiencing transmigration and countdowns like this. Nan Gengchen had already opened the video, and Cheng Chen looked over. In the video, Jacob sat behind a table facing all the media he had called for at short notice. The scene was filled with flashing cameras, which were slightly dazzling. But everyone watching the video noticed Jacob's left arm first, because that arm had been completely replaced with a mechanical arm. In the video, Jacob stood up and took everyone to the basketball court. Then, across the entire court, he effortlessly threw basketballs into the hoop with his left hand, making 10 in a row just like that.
Is this special effects? Nan Gengchen murmured, is it an advertisement they filmed with special effects?
Ching Chen did not respond.
The video was transferred from abroad and even had Chinese subtitles provided.
In the video, Jacob told the media, "Last night, I accidentally discovered a countdown on my arm, and when the countdown ended, I was unexpectedly transported to a strange mechanical civilization world. It is also Earth, with the sun and moon, but it appeared to be a parallel universe with a civilization vastly different from our world." Jacob raised his left arm. "I gained this arm when I transmigrated, as if I had replaced someone over there, becoming a new version of myself. I don't understand the principle behind it, but its strength far exceeds my imagination, and it's incredibly flexible and precise.
The reason I'm holding this press conference isn't to show off to everyone.
That world isn't as wonderful as one imagines but is instead extremely dangerous. I am holding this press conference here to avoid being secretly taken away for research. I hereby declare that I refuse to be a research subject, and if one day I disappear, please everyone."
Ching Chen had a sudden realization as he watched this.
Jacob was a public figure, so he couldn't keep a mechanical limb a secret. The other party was also well aware that the technology of that world was far beyond ours, so he was very afraid of being taken away for research and becoming a guinea pig. That's why he chose a more radical method. This might not be a good approach, and perhaps the other party panicked, which is why they made such a hasty decision. Ching Chen looked at Nan Gengchen, whose skinny, small figure was now frozen like a petrified chicken. And Ching Chen thought, since he had neither managed to bring the boning knife over nor the toothbrush back, it seemed the only way to bring something from there was to modify himself, or to hide it inside his body. He also didn't know where Jacob had appeared when he crossed over, perhaps across the ocean? At this moment, all the students in the class were in a state of shock and skepticism, finding it hard to tell if this trending topic was real or the result of special effects. However, before everyone had a chance to regain their composure, a few more bizarre incidents rushed up the trending charts. An internet executive was found dead at home with precise mechanical structures suddenly appearing on his body, eerily similar to Jacob's. Some college student claims he also traveled to another world, where there not only exists a mechanical civilization but also transcendence who surpass ordinary humans. Some high school student claims he not only crossed over to another world but also acquired an awakening ability. Ching Chen frowned looking at these, as the series of news arrived faster than he imagined, and not everyone was as cautious as him. More and more news was telling the world, this was not special effects, not ad copy, it was real. There were indeed people who had crossed over to that unknown and fascinating world. And the transmigrators were not in a small number.
Next to him, Nan Gengchen muttered, "Transcendence, mechanical civilization. Does crossing over mean one has the chance to become a transcendent?" A classmate asked. "The chances of crossing over don't seem low, right? Could there also be students from our school who have crossed over? Maybe someone will come to school with a mechanical limb. I also want to cross over." With each passing moment, more classmates gathered, and whenever someone approached the classroom, all eyes would turn to see if the newcomer had any mechanical limbs. You see, at the age of 17 or 18, when curiosity, the thirst for exploration, and vanity are at their strongest, adults might consider whether risks and opportunities are equal, but younger people have more anticipation. When you watch Harry Potter, you hope you could cross through King's Cross Station, and when you read a novel, you wish you could be whisked away by a celestial guide. But in the real world, under normal circumstances, what welcomes you isn't a celestial being, but a celestial trap. So when everyone found out that crossing over would make them extraordinary, they would filter out some of the dangers, and then hope they were one of the transmigrators. The role of the protagonist of the world is inherently alluring. Xingchen found it hard to be an exception. The difference was, Xingchen had truly crossed over and had also seen those legendary people who were extraordinary and transcendent, Lin Xiaoxiao and Uncle Li Dong. And probably Yi Wan as well. Gradually, Xingchen noticed that the panicky look on Nan Gengchen's face had faded, and he began to perk up. Xingchen asked casually, "Is that the weird thing you were talking about just now?" Nan Gengchen lowered his voice, "I can't tell you right now, but rest assured, if I get any opportunity, I'll definitely not forget you, brother." Xingchen nodded. Let's not forget each other at the peak of wealth and honor. Chapter 15. Clouds overcast. Originally, Xingchen had just intended to coax some information out of him, but he did not expect Nan Gengchen's mindset to change so rapidly. Just a moment ago he was all nervous and scared, and after one class, he was planning to become the protagonist of the world. What could Xingchen say? "If you're happy, then I'm happy for you." At that time, Nan Gengchen had already started seriously discussing with Xingchen, just suppose, if I could travel back, then I could bring back some high-tech stuff to sell, right? "I don't know," said Xingchen, "you might not be able to bring anything back." "Look, they brought back things like mechanical arms," said Nan Gengchen. "Don't worry, if I really make a fortune, I'll treat you to nice food." Xingchen knew that world was dangerous. Although as friends they had to keep some secrets, he still hoped his friend would return safely, so he kindly advised, "You see, many transmigrators have said they encountered dangers, so you should be careful and not always think about getting rich." Nan Gengchen fell silent for a few seconds, then asked, "Where do you want to go eat by then?" Xingchen. Source, novigo.co. In his mind, Nan Gengchen silently calculated his dreams of becoming rich, but only Xingchen knew that you couldn't just bring things back at will when returning. When Nan Gengchen treated him to a meal, imagine him pulling off his own arm, slamming it down on the counter and shouting, "2 bowls of Dan Dan noodles." What a festive scene that would be. Suddenly, someone in the class wondered aloud, what exactly is the pattern with these transmigrations? So many people have traveled, why haven't we? Nan Gengchen mumbled quietly beside, "Maybe only those with true talent can do it." Xingchen just raised his eyebrows when he heard that. News about transmigrators was becoming more frequent, both domestically and internationally. Gradually, Xingchen figured out 2 patterns. First, all transmigrators had a 6-hour countdown before leaving and a 48-hour countdown to return. That is to say, the time everyone traveled was consistent, and so was the return time. Then someone stepped forward after seeing the transmigration event, stating they hadn't traveled but a 48-hour countdown had appeared on their arm after midnight. This should be the second batch. Next time, the first and second batches will travel simultaneously. The second pattern was that all those who had traveled were young, currently between the ages of 10 and 35. Suddenly, a female student said, "A streamer claimed they're a transmigrator and is currently live streaming to show off their mechanical arm. I'll send the link to the group." These days, students all carry mobile phones, which facilitates communication. Everyone clicked on the link, and it was indeed an outdoor streamer showing off their mechanical arm. Xingqian always felt something was off because he had never seen such a plastic-looking mechanical limb. And before the streamer had been showing it for 2 minutes, the mechanical arm snapped off and fell to the ground. Is this jerk wearing a model to ride the wave of popularity? Xingqian was somewhat amused. Whenever there's a spectacle, all sorts of oddballs show up. At this point, he guessed that Nan Gengchen wasn't part of the batch from yesterday at noon, but part of the new countdown that appeared early in the morning. Otherwise, Nan wouldn't have been so shocked by Jacob's press conference. So now there were 2 possibilities. One was that the number of transmigrators was fixed. If someone died, a new transmigrator would take their place. The other possibility was that the number of transmigrators was continuously expanding and would increase in the future. Currently, Xingqian could not estimate how many transmigrators there were nationwide. Gradually, all the classmates had arrived, and someone exclaimed, "There's a transmigrator on the streets of Los Angeles City too. I saw it on my friend's socials, someone captured it." Upon hearing this, everyone gathered around. The video on the social showed a young man in a hurry, his cheeks adorned with strange mechanical lines, showcasing a unique technological beauty. Then someone noticed the gray steel ankles revealed as the young man moved. Clearly, this young man's legs had also been replaced with mechanical limbs. The cameraman in the video wanted to continue filming, but then saw the young man suddenly leap onto the rooftop of a nearby 4 or 5 meter high building, vanishing without a trace. A female classmate whispered softly, "So cool. It'd be great if we had a transmigrator like that in our school. We could directly ask about that world." Just then, Xingqian suddenly remembered that the school indeed had one person who had transmigrated at the same time as him, the son of Yangli Group's chairman, Huang Jixian. If he remembered correctly, the other person should be in class 7 of grade 11. That day, after the breakdown, he was taken away by the mechanical prison guard and had not appeared since then. Logically, he should have returned by now. Even if he was dead, his body would have returned. With this thought, taking advantage of the 10 or so minutes left before class, Xingqian stood up and walked towards the first-year area downstairs. Los Angeles Foreign Language School was bustling at this time, with everyone discussing the transmigrator incident. Even the teachers passing by were scrolling through their phones as they walked. No one probably expected that a certain transmigrator was right beside them. Xingqian looked at those people and suddenly felt a sense of alienation, as if he had become somewhat different without knowing when. In the past, he might have thought about studying hard, taking time to seriously review and prepare in advance, striving to get into a good university far away from here. But now, it seemed his path was no longer here. Xingqian arrived at the entrance of Class 1, Grade 7, and casually stopped a bespectacled boy, asking, "Hello, did Huang Jixian come to school today?" "No, I haven't seen him yet," the classmate replied. "Oh," Xingqian nodded, "do you know where he lives?" "I only know that he lives in Silver Run Central Garden, but I'm not sure exactly where." "Are you looking for him for something?" the classmate asked. "When he comes to class, I can pass him a message." "It's okay, thanks." Xingqian guessed that Huang Jixian probably couldn't make it anymore. The collapsed boy's spirit had suffered great trauma. It was possible he had gone mad. Xingqian returned to his class, lost in thought, and almost all students had lost the will to study during the first period of math class. During the latter half of the class, the young male math teacher, Tian Hailong, noticed everyone was distracted and simply started joking with them, saying, "You guys are completely not paying attention to me now. It looks like I need to get a mechanical arm or something for you to listen to me, right?" The classroom burst into laughter. Then, Tian Hailong actually started discussing this trending topic with the students, no longer teaching the class. If it were an ordinary trending topic, neither teachers nor students would have reacted like this, but what was happening now was different because it was changing the world. During class, Nan Gengchen had been browsing his phone constantly, and after class, he suddenly handed his phone to Xingqian, saying, "He Xiao posted a guide." "He Xiao?" Xingqian asked, puzzled. "He's a major gamer and influencer, known for finding Easter eggs and details in games, like how to find hidden plots, hidden orange weapons, and hidden professions.
He has quite a few fans, Nan Gengchen explained, knowing that Cheng Chen was not much into gaming and therefore unlikely to have followed someone like He Xiaoxiao. Nan Gengchen continued, he posted a game guide video a few hours ago, but no one had ever heard of the game he was talking about. He was quite serious about providing the guide. With the emerging transmigrator incident, everyone suddenly realized that his game guide might be related to that other world, and he might be one of the transmigrators. The video had no images, just a dark background and white subtitles. In the video, a young and magnetic male voice said, "Since this game is quite special, I can't show you the game video. I'll call this game Inner World. And the world we're currently in is called the Outer World." He Xiaoxiao then calmly continued, "Regarding this game, I've just entered it myself, so the information I have is very limited. I haven't found a way to obtain hidden orange weapons yet. There are currently 3 known paths to acquire professions. The first is to use technology to modify oneself, which can be directly purchased at a mechanical hospital. Mechanical limbs are relatively expensive, and since I haven't found a money glitch yet, I can't afford to try it. Selling one's organs seems to be the easiest way to make money here, but I don't recommend trying it. The second path is to join the contraindicated courts, where one can become a new human by injecting a genetic potion, but I haven't found the relevant organization's NPC yet. This organization is quite mysterious. The third known path to a profession is in prison number 18. You need to go there and look for an NPC named Uncle Li Dong. This is currently the highest potential career path known. If I discover other career paths in the future, I will continue to share them with you." The more Cheng Chen watched the video, the more astonished he became. He was certain it was a real world. How could it not be real if even bruises could be brought back? Yet He Xiaoxiao seemed to have become obsessed, treating that place as a mere game. And treating Uncle Li Dong as an NPC for grinding professions. Cheng Chen didn't know what He Xiaoxiao's role was in the inner world, but one thing Cheng Chen could be sure of was that Uncle Li Dong's reputation in the inner world was indeed high, so much so that He Xiaoxiao heard of him within 48 hours of arriving. And now, He Xiaoxiao had already considered Uncle Li Dong to be the most promising career path. Nan Gengchen, after watching the video, muttered, "Isn't that the same as saying nothing? Buying mechanical limbs needs money, contraindicated courts can't be found, and prison number 18 might be accessible, but he didn't say how to get in." Cheng Chen suddenly wondered, with the significant impact of this video, would people really rush to prison number 18 to explore the Uncle Li Dong route after he traveled back in 2 days? If someone really treated Uncle Li Dong as an NPC to grind, the outcome might be quite grim, and Uncle Li himself would probably be utterly confused. The buzz about transmigration continued into the afternoon. Until a piece of news appeared, a young male abroad, confirmed to be a transmigrator, was found dead at home. His mechanically enhanced legs, previously featured in a video, had been severed and were missing. This news, like a dark cloud, suddenly overshadowed everyone's enthusiasm. You can also vote with your monthly tickets for the new book now. We are only 400 votes away from making it into the top 10, let's go for it. Thanks to Tiny Mao Chestnut, Dream Ting Mayer, Hero One Ear, and Why Ascend to Heaven for becoming the new allies of this book. Our patrons are generous, their fortunes as vast as the East Sea and their lifespans as enduring as Nanshan. Chapter 16. You only have one life. When something transcends the ordinary in life, it tends to be quite romantic. Like an adult's fairy tale. The Hogwarts acceptance letter you never got as a child suddenly doesn't seem so far away. However, this vicious news was like a bucket of cold water quenching many people's enthusiasm. Only at this time could everyone realize that the world isn't as wonderful as they imagined. The world might change, but human nature doesn't. Future technology is too valuable, not to mention the materials and structures of bionic mechanical limbs. Just the technology for connecting mechanical limbs to neurons is enough to drive many people crazy. This is real future technology, and rather than hoping for extraterrestrial tech, it's better to directly plunder what's close at hand. And most crucially, those ordinary transmigrators who had returned, despite having mechanical limbs, were still no match for some of the armed organizations.
Source: Navgo. Co.
The victim died violently at home, stabbed in the heart from under the ribcage with a dagger. Compared to mechanical limbs, this dagger had no technical significance. This is not a fairy tale, but rather it feels more like a cynical adult fable. Suddenly, many transmigrators who had impulsively revealed their identities due to the hype began to feel afraid. Some who returned with mechanical limbs worried they too might be targeted. Other transmigrators like Qingchen, who didn't have mechanical limbs, were relatively okay, but who knew if others might covet something else?
Now, there were even speculations in the Japanese media that perhaps by killing a transmigrator, one could take over their qualification to transmigrate. This speculation was insane. Before it's proven feasible or not, trust between people would likely be completely erased.
Nan Gangchen, who once was eager, finally stopped thinking about where to take Qingchen to eat. All Nan Gangchen could mutter quietly was, "It's not easy to get a chance to change fate. Why has it suddenly become a horror survival game?" It could be said that Nan Gangchen and Qingchen were in the same boat, both suffering from fathers addicted to gambling, causing chaos at home. Nan Gangchen fared slightly better, at least his parents hadn't divorced, and the house wasn't sold off. His day-to-day life was secure, just without any pocket money. Qingchen was worse off, he had lost everything. Typically, during class gatherings, no one would call them, because they couldn't even afford the fee to play pool. Nan Gangchen had a girl he liked, but without any spending money, he felt somewhat inferior and dared not speak to her.
So both were quite eager to make money.
Nan Gangchen even tried writing stories to submit to magazines for some article fees, but it was like a stone sunk in the sea. Seeing Nan Gangchen discouraged, Qingchen instead felt it was a good thing. "You saw the news too.
I mean, if you ever transmigrated, be extra careful and don't talk carelessly once you're back."
"Yeah, I got it,"
Nan Gangchen nodded, feeling somewhat emotional. "Why are we so poor, man?"
Qingchen thought for a moment and said, "While others' dads were working hard, your dad was playing cards." Though Nan Gangchen complained about his father, he felt uncomfortable with Qingchen's remarks and retorted, "What about your dad?" Qingchen responded, "Oh, my dad was putting in great effort playing cards."
Nan Gangchen. The two fell into a moment of silence, and after a while, Nan Gangchen asked, "How did your dad get locked up?"
"I reported him." "I hope he can seriously reflect on himself in there," Qingchen answered calmly.
Nan Gangchen was stunned momentarily. "Maybe I should report my dad too?" Qingchen? Just then, the bell for class rang.
The second class in the morning was English, but the teacher who entered was the geography teacher. With foreign language in the name of the Los Angeles Foreign Language School, it certainly places emphasis on foreign languages. English teachers hold a higher status, and virtually every English teacher for each class is outstanding. The school also employs foreign teachers. Starting from middle school, students have a class taught by a foreign teacher every week. Moreover, several classes in the school even offer specialized courses like Japanese and German, completely excluding English. The middle-aged geography teacher, Chun Yandong, announced from the podium, "Your homeroom teacher Du is off due to some matters, so we are switching to geography for the second class, and English will be moved to the third class tomorrow morning." On hearing this, Qingchen was momentarily stunned. Maybe the day's events had been too shocking, but he couldn't shake the feeling that the homeroom teacher's leave of absence wasn't so simple.
Could teacher Dui Hong also be a transmigrator? But if there were so many transmigrators concentrated in Los Angeles, how many would there be nationwide? That's not right.
Qingchen lowered his head so others wouldn't see his pupils, which suddenly contracted sharply. Everything that happened today, like scenes from a movie, flashed through his mind, all the information summarized, categorized, and sorted in an instant.
The second group of transmigrators who just had the countdown appear on their arms. The little girl panicking after learning she would transmigrate, interviewed with her parents by her side. The transmigrator live streamer coming out to sell products on air.
Pieces of information, like leaves falling from the sky, and Xingchen plucked the useful leaves from the air with ease. The next moment, Xingchen looked up in astonishment. The transmigrators he discovered today seemed to be distributed in a spotty fashion, concentrated in more than a dozen cities. Even residents of certain cities expressed their confusion online as to why they hadn't seen a single transmigrator in their city. In other words, the distribution of transmigrators could be very concentrated. Concentrated in just over a dozen cities. The analysis was too overwhelming, and Chengchen couldn't help feeling dizzy. At 5:40 in the afternoon, after the last class ended, Chengchen skipped class once again. Before leaving, the class representative called out loudly, "Chengchen, tomorrow is the deadline for the book fee, don't forget." "Got it," Chengchen waved his hand. Then, under Nan Gengchen's envious gaze, he quickly left the classroom. In the twilight of early evening, students who had just finished class rushed to the cafeteria for dinner, waiting for evening self-study to begin. Meanwhile, Chengchen swiftly moved through the crowd, climbing over the fence at a corner of the school campus. He went home, changed out of his school uniform into clothes he didn't wear often, and then left with a duckbill cap. He searched for the address of Silver Run Central Garden on his phone. It was about 6 kilometers from the school, the residential area where Huang Jixin lived. For some reason, he felt an urge to go there, although he didn't know which building or unit Huang Jixin was in. He just wanted to have a look, to find out what had happened to Huang Jixin after his return and what he had encountered in the inner world. Xingchen didn't have extra money for a taxi. He had only 50 cents in his pocket, which was all he had until his next chess game with Elder Zhang at the Fortune supermarket. He decided to run. In the past, Xingchen didn't place much importance on physical exercise, he just participated in the school's routine exercise. But now, he suddenly realized that he had to work out. To face a dangerous world, he must have a strong physique. You must understand. In Chinese characters, the word for life has never had a homophone. Perhaps this itself suggests that you only have one life. It must be cherished. Chapter 17. Cross-tracking. The night fell gradually, and a cool autumn breeze swept over the Royal City Bridge, stretching Chingchen's body as he ran, with the wind blowing his clothes behind him. Perhaps it was a change of mindset, but he felt as if the shackles given to him by his family and surroundings were slowly coming undone. Chingchen ran faster and faster. Occasionally, pedestrians on the bridge would look back at him. Everyone could feel this inexplicable youthfulness, impulsive yet rich. Silversheen Central Garden is one of the highest-priced residential areas in Los Angeles City, and a well-known wealthy neighborhood. So it wasn't surprising that Huang Jixin, being a second-generation rich kid, lived here. The property management and security here were relatively strict, and access required a swipe card. Source: novigo.co. Xingchen circled around to the back door to see if there was a way to get in. However, before he could figure out how to enter, he saw 6 men in black suits walking out of a small path at the back gate of the complex. These men were ramrod straight, each looking as sharp and unstoppable as a bayonet. As they walked, the 6 men kept in step, their timing and distance when lifting their feet as if measured by a ruler. Wait, Xingchen was stunned because amongst the 6, he saw a youth being carried. Huang Jixin. At that moment, Huang Jixin looked blank, muttering nonsensical phrases: prison, machinery, monsters. They quickly climbed into 2 black SUVs parked outside the back door, and one of them seemed to sense something, turning his head to look towards Xingchen from the passenger seat. Xingchen immediately turned his head and casually played with his phone as if nothing was amiss. The men did not seem to pay much attention to him, and the 2 black SUVs sped away into the night. Xingchen, on the other hand, stood frozen outside the gate of the complex, silently staring at his phone. Who were those people? Why did they take Huang Jixin away? Could it be because of his identity as a transmigrator? It must be that. Xingchen refused to believe in coincidence. He turned and headed home. All the way, he pondered the identities of the men in black, but gradually, he realized something wasn't right. A young man wearing a black hoodie was silently following him, having trailed 5 blocks already. An inexplicable sense of familiarity, he had seen this person before. In an instant, Qingchen felt all his muscles tense up, an invisible pressure eroding his sense of safety. It was as if he had been fiercely marked by a wild beast. He remembered, when he had encountered the men in black at the back gate of the central garden, that person was nearby, looking at his phone, but his fingers never once slid across the screen. Qingchen could not analyze every single detail he saw every minute, it was too draining, but he could retrieve memories. With this thought, Qingchen casually pretended to pick up his phone, and then stopped in his tracks to make a call. "Hello, I'll be home late for dinner." The baseball cap cast his cheeks in shadows. The young man in the black hoodie kept walking past him without stopping as Qingchen came to a halt. Qingchen's peripheral vision stayed locked on the man, but the other person did not look back even once. This puzzled Qingchen, and for a moment he even wondered if he was being too paranoid. Amidst the bustling streets, the man in the black hoodie quickly vanished after hanging up the call and continued walking forward. It was fortunate that he had gone home to change out of his school uniform and put on a hat, otherwise just by seeing the uniform, they would have known he was a student from Los Angeles Foreign Language School. Before Qingchen could relax, at the next intersection's traffic lights, he noticed a familiar face among the crowd waiting to cross, someone he had seen at the main entrance of the Central Garden complex. It wasn't a coincidence. It was coordinated surveillance. Every person tasked with following him only tracked him for a short distance, each ensuring they blended in like a passerby to go undetected. If the target stopped, the follower would keep walking nonchalantly as if nothing happened, and others would take over from behind. This was one of the safest tracking methods. Qingchen was thankful for all the useful and useless books he had read. He finally understood that when the person in the off-road vehicle looked at him, he had been marked. There were more than 6, with additional people hidden in the shadows. Was this some secret organization, so well-trained and so focused on matters related to transmigrators? Qingchen suddenly felt that he might not be the first batch of transmigrators, perhaps he was the second, or even the third. If not, even if someone learned about transmigrators today, they wouldn't be able to respond so quickly on the same day. These people were well prepared. The youth's black pupils were dense and deep. Facing him on the sidewalk was a night runner, an uncle selling rock sugar gourds at a stall, an elegant woman clicking along in high heels, and the changing light and shadows cast by the nearby yellow street lamp. He took note of every detail, reminding himself not to make a mistake. There were 12 seconds left on the traffic light. The man in black who had just brushed past him could very likely be taking a detour to position himself behind for the next round of surveillance. Based on the detour he would have to take through Wangcheng Gate Street, Jinghua Road, and Kaiyuan Avenue, an adult running at a jogger's pace would need at most 10 minutes. If he wanted to shake off the surveillance, now was the time. The green light came on, and the stalker lifted his foot to cross the street, while Qingchen suddenly turned around and went back. The follower crossed the street as if nothing were odd and spoke softly. The target did not cross the street, he turned back. "How much longer till you're in position?" It looked like he was talking to himself, but a closer look would reveal a semi-transparent earpiece in his left ear. "No good, I still need 2 minutes to reach my tracking position." In a flash, the follower crossing the street sensed something was off, and he quickly turned back to look for Qingchen's figure but couldn't find the young man anywhere. "Lost him," the tracker at the intersection sighed lightly. In the distance, a young man in a black hoodie running at full speed laughed in response. "How embarrassing, 2 people tracking one and you still lost him." "It was you who insisted on following him." The young man in the black hoodie laughed. "Then do you think he realized we were tracking him?" A voice came through the earpiece. "I'm sure he did, he's skilled." The young man in the black hoodie thought for a moment and said, "That boy didn't look more than 17 or 18, still probably in high school. If he really noticed us tracking him, that would be quite something." "And did you notice?" "He handled it very naturally. The first time he stopped to make a call, I didn't even think he noticed me."
Otherwise, I would have taken control of him right there. I'm curious, why did you decide to follow him on a whim?
We had a lot on our plate today, and there was no need to waste time on a passerby.
Not exactly a whim.
Just that when the team was escorting target 009, I noticed he avoided the boss's gaze.
Chapter 18, Mysterious Organization.
Compared to transmigrating to prison number 18, Xing Chen felt that tonight resembled a real crisis far more. He couldn't determine who the other party was or what their intentions were. The mere suspicion from the other party had initiated a tail and shadowing, an extremely unsettling feeling. It was as if he had burst out of the greenhouse-like environment of the school and into a world truly ruled by wild beasts. Or perhaps, this was the true face of the world. The night deepened as Xing Chen moved through the green belts, relying on the tall sycamores along the road to conceal his movements.
The adrenaline-fueled tension and pounding heart did not subside until he had walked a considerable distance.
When he returned to his residence on Xingshu Road, Xing Chen even sat in the shadows for half an hour, only deciding to go home after confirming no one was following him. Although the autumn air was crisp and temperatures were dropping, the clothes on his back were soaked through.
Source: novigo.co.
As he walked, Xing Chen opened his smartphone to search for the game streamer He Xiao, curious if she had posted any new guides. However, He Xiao, who had said she would make a new overview of the inner world tonight, had disappeared. In the comments section, fans were asking why she hadn't started her stream, but He Xiao hadn't responded.
Could this streamer also have been taken by some mysterious organization? How many such organizations existed nationwide? Xing Chen couldn't be sure.
Suddenly, the sound of police sirens erupted outside the complex, with a police car driving through into the neighborhood. Frowning, Xing Chen followed them, and the police car just happened to stop at his apartment building entrance. From the second floor, a woman's crying and a man's screams could be heard. By then, the neighbors had all come out, and people from other residential buildings had gathered in a circle downstairs.
Xing Chen blended into the crowd, silently observing. "What happened here? What's going on?" an old man asked, puzzled.
"Isn't there a man in this building who often abuses his wife?" an old lady said, rocking a child in her arms. "That woman was beaten and hospitalized before, but the man never changed. Later, when the woman wanted a divorce, the man beat her again and even threatened to kill her whole family if she dared divorce him."
"So what happened today?" someone asked, confused. It couldn't be that the man injured the woman, could it?
"But it sounds like it's the man who's in trouble."
"You actually guessed it right," the old lady replied. "I was just about to go up and intervene when I found out that this time it was the woman who beat the man."
"What?" someone exclaimed in shock. "The man came home drunk tonight and tried to beat his wife again, but guess what?
You all heard about lots of people transmigrating today, right?"
"It seems his wife also transmigrated," the old lady narrated excitedly. "At first, the woman still took the beatings and didn't dare to fight back, but perhaps she snapped and eventually broke the man's leg in retaliation. It's just too bad for their little daughter, who has to suffer at such a young age."
Upon hearing this, Xing Chen finally relaxed.
To be honest, he didn't have a shred of sympathy for the man and even felt a trace of amusement.
Is there anything more pitiful in this world than a man who beats his wife? Beaten at his own game.
This family of 3 lived just above him, and over 2 years, he often saw the woman, holding her daughter, squatting at the staircase, crying, as he returned home from night study. The woman, appearing to be nearly 30 years old and quite attractive, was frequently assaulted by her husband out of his suspicion that she was seeing another man. Xing Chen later learned from the neighbors that the man would beat his wife whenever he saw her talking to any other man. Now that he was crippled, it was nothing less than he deserved. At that moment, the police had gone upstairs to inquire, and the man was awkwardly carried onto an ambulance. Xing Chen glanced over. Both of the man's arms were irregularly bent, clearly fractured.
As the ambulance departed, the police waved to disperse the crowd.
Xing Chen was about to return home when he saw the little girl sitting miserably at the entrance of his apartment. "Brother, my mom just now asked me to stay at your place for a while, but I knocked and you weren't home," the girl said in a tearful voice. Her name was Lee Tongyun, and this was not her first time seeking refuge at Qing Chen's place. Qing Chen wasn't one to meddle, but there was once an altercation between the husband and wife upstairs, and the little girl was alone, crying at the staircase entrance. It happened right after Cheng Chen finished his night study, and as he was about to pass by the girl, the man came downstairs looking for her, and she asked if she could hide at Qing Chen's place for a while.
Qing Chen finally agreed.
That evening, he made soy sauce fried rice for the little girl and even played cartoons for her on his phone. Not until everything had calmed down did he bring the little girl back home. The woman upstairs soon learned about this, and from then on, she would send the girl to Qing Chen's home whenever there was a quarrel. The woman was once a bit embarrassed and said that Qing Chen's dirty laundry could be sent upstairs for her to wash, but Qing Chen worried about the man upstairs causing trouble and did not respond.
At that moment, Qing Chen patted the little girl's head. "Have you eaten yet?"
"I had some cookies, but I'm still a bit hungry," the little girl, Lee Tongyun, said timidly.
"Let's go, I haven't eaten either."
"I'll make you stir-fried rice." Qing Chen had spent all his savings when preparing supplies, but although he was out of money, he now had plenty of condiments and rice at home. "After you've eaten, your mom's side will probably be fine.
Don't be scared, your dad won't be able to beat your mom anymore." "Can I still come to your house then?" Lee Tongyun suddenly asked.
"Of course." Qing Chen was about to speak when his expression suddenly changed, and he quickly took out the keys to open the door, pulling Lee Tongyun inside as well.
Lee Tongyun looked at Qing Chen with a puzzled face. "Brother, what happened?"
He quickly drew the bedroom curtain and peeked outside through a small gap. "It's nothing, just don't talk for now," Qing Chen said.
Meanwhile, an SUV drove into the alley outside the building.
It was one of the same ones he had seen tonight at Silver Run Central Garden. The people in the car had probably heard about a transmigrator appearing here and had rushed over. Qing Chen's heart raced, as he had not expected them to react so quickly. Then, two young men jumped out of the car, one in a black hoodie and the other in a gray coat.
They were also the ones who had followed Qing Chen.
Qing Chen's heartbeat quickened, wondering if this was a case of it being a small world. The next moment, the young man in the black hoodie looked towards the window where Qing Chen was hiding, prompting Qing Chen to immediately retreat backward.
"What's up?" his companion in the black hoodie asked.
The one in the black hoodie smiled. "Nothing, just looking around.
I always feel like someone is watching me, but it's probably just me being paranoid. Let's go up and handle our business."
Qing Chen was somewhat worried about the woman upstairs. To be precise, he was worried that if the woman was taken away, Lee Tongyun would be in a desperate situation. Her father had been hospitalized after being beaten, and her mother might be taken away by the mysterious organization. What would she do in the future? 10 minutes passed, and before Qing Chen could think of what to do, the two young men had already left the building. They swiftly got into the car and drove away without taking Lee Tongyun's mother with them.
What was going on? Qing Chen was a bit confused now.
Weren't they supposed to capture all the transmigrators? Gradually, the police car also left, and there was a knocking at his door. Qing Chen went to open the door, only to see Lee Tongyun's mother standing outside, her hair messy, the corner of her mouth split, and blood on her face. The woman seemed to realize that she looked disheveled and quickly tied her messy hair behind her ears. She softly said to Qing Chen, "I'm sorry to trouble you again. Please vote. Now you can vote monthly for new books too. We're just 200 votes away from the top 10, let's go." Thanks to Master Yiping and Xia Tian's Little River for becoming champions of this book. So generous, may your fortunes be as vast as the East Sea and your life as long as the South Mountain.
Chapter 19.
Restrict travel.
Are you all right?
Qing Chen looked at the woman outside the door and said. This was his first time sizing up the other parties seriously. Every time they met before, it was in a rush, and because of domestic violence, the woman intentionally avoided other men, including Qing Chen, even though he was just a high school student. This must be the shadow left by the domestic abuse. At this moment, the woman's hands and arms had turned into mechanical limbs. Xingchen noticed that her mechanical limbs were more aesthetically pleasing than those of most prisoners in prison number 18, with lines that were smooth and elegant yet filled with the beauty of strength. If they weren't covered by long sleeves, they would probably look even better. To say the woman was indeed beautiful was an understatement. Although the corners of her eyes had fine lines, they added a certain charm, and it didn't obscure the gentle temperament she possessed. The woman looked at Xingchen with some embarrassment and said, "I didn't expect to trouble you again this time." "It's nothing," Xingchen shook his head, "I was just about to cook for Li Tongyun. I really like her." The woman nodded her head. She said to Li Tongyun, "Let's go, Xiaoyun, back home with mom." Source, novigo.co. Li Tongyun said pitifully, "I'm still hungry, and you two wrecked our home. There's nothing to eat if we go back." The woman got a bit angry after hearing this. "Be obedient, don't cause trouble for others anymore." However, Xingchen suddenly said, "Xiaoyun just told me that you haven't eaten yet. Why don't you come over to my place and have some food?" The woman and Li Tongyun were both stunned. Although Xingchen had helped them in the past, he had never proactively shown such hospitality. He seemed to be wary of getting involved in trouble. "I'm also curious about the transmigration matter," Xingchen explained, "so I wanted to ask, how should I address you?" "My name is Jiang Shui," the woman replied. "Right, I just wanted to ask Aunt Jiang Shui about the inner world," Xingchen said. "Is it okay to talk about it?" Truth be told, Jiang Shui was only 12 years older than Xingchen, so calling her auntie might seem a bit aging, but since he knew Li Tongyun first, that was the only way he could address her now. "There's nothing inconvenient about it," Jiang Shui said. "You can ask about it any time, it's no trouble. I just need to go home and clean up some things to cook for Xiaoyun." "Mom, let's eat at brother's house," Li Tongyun said in a low voice. Jiang Shui sighed at Xiaoyun's pleading look. "Then I really am imposing on you." All along, the woman had an apologetic air about her, and Xingchen could feel her genuine inner guilt. With such a character, could she really survive well in the harsh world of the inner world? Xingchen suppressed his own curiosity until he served the soy sauce fried rice on the table, and then finally, as if it was nothing out of the ordinary, he said, "I saw the police come to handle the case. What did they say?" Jiang Shui answered, "The neighbors helped explain the situation to them. Initially, they were going to take me with them, but considering I have a daughter and it was an act of self-defense, they let me stay, saying they'd notify me if needed." Only then did Xingchen ask what he most wanted to know. Later, 2 more people came. "What were they there for?" "I'm not sure what they were there for," Jiang Shui shook her head. "The people gathered some information from the police, then had me fill out a form, took a couple of photos of my ID, and left." Xingchen was taken aback. "That simple?" "Right, they also said they might need me in the future and asked me not to leave Los Angeles City recently, but they didn't specify why," Jiang Shui replied. "The police didn't interfere with them?" Xingchen was curious. "It seems they showed some kind of credentials to the police," Jiang Shui explained. "I'm not too clear on the specifics, but the police didn't bother them." This gave Xingchen a preliminary understanding of those people. First, the other party did not capture transmigrators on site. Second, the other party had official documents. Regardless, at least the other party was not as heartlessly insane as imagined, which did put Xingchen at ease a great deal. Suddenly, Xingchen asked Aunt Jiang Shui, "What was your identity in the inner world?" The inner world, this name, after being used in his Xiaoxiao's strategy guides, had gradually spread. It was the commonly accepted name everyone used for that transmigration world. Jiang Shui answered, "I opened a mechanical clinic in City 18, which actually just helps people install mechanical limbs. But after I transmigrated, I didn't understand anything. When people came for mechanical limb installation, I could only say we were out of stock." Xingchen nodded, agreeing that such technical work certainly couldn't be mastered in just a couple of days. "And these arms of yours?" he asked. "I already had mechanical limbs when I went there, and they just came back with me upon my return," Jiang Shui replied.
Xingchen then asked, I saw something about Prison 18 in a Transmigrator's Guide.
Where is that place? It's on the edge of City 18, Zhang Shui said. That prison is quite famous, apparently a place specifically for incarcerating felons, with the highest defense level in the Federation.
A federal system? Xingchen hesitated. Aunt Zhang Shui, what else do you know?
I only transmigrated there for 2 days, didn't figure out anything. Zhang Shui shook her head.
At this moment, the young girl Li Tongyun asked, Mom, what's the name of your clinic?
It's called Zhang Shui's Mechanical Limbs Clinic, Zhang Shui answered. Why do you ask?
Just asking, Li Tongyun said while picking at her soy sauce fried rice.
Xingchen made a note of the name, although he probably didn't have the ability to help just now. To help, he would have to go through Lu Guangyi or Uncle Li Dong, but how to explain how he knew Zhang Shui to them?
He was still unclear how people from the inner world treated transmigrators. What if Zhang Shui was exposed? Wouldn't he be discovered too?
Better wait and see. For now, it looked like Zhang Shui wasn't in any immediate danger.
Zhang Shui looked at Chang Chen. Why are you so curious about the inner world?
I'd also like to transmigrate and take a look, Xingchen said with a smile. I actually envy you transmigrators quite a bit.
Zhang Shui shook her head. That world is very dangerous.
Basically, aside from the people of Li family, Chen clan, Qing's family, Jin Dai, and Deer Island Group, everyone else lives in misery every day. The outer world is better. Xingchen thought to himself, he was from Qing's family, yet he was also living in misery.
He asked, what are your plans next?
I'm thinking of taking Xiaoyun to her grandmother's in Zheng City for a while, leaving tomorrow.
Then I'll come back and divorce Xiaoyun's father, Zhang Shui said.
Xingchen suddenly thought of something, and then suggested, then you should buy a ticket first. There are a lot of people traveling to Zheng City every day, they are hard to get. Zhang Shui didn't think too much and just used a mobile app to buy a ticket to Zheng City. The payment was successful, but when it came to issuing the ticket, it showed a failure to issue.
Just as expected. Xingchen fell into thought.
When he heard that they weren't letting Zhang Shui leave Los Angeles City without any actual restrictive measures, he guessed there might be other means in play. Perhaps the mysterious organization took a photo of Zhang Shui's ID card precisely to restrict her movements.
Chapter 20. Transmigrators Group Chat.
It looks like I can't leave Los Angeles City, Zhang Shui said after failing to buy train tickets and trying for plane tickets with the same outcome.
Both ticketing attempts failed. This mysterious organization has eyes and ears everywhere, and Xingchen didn't want to be confined to one city, so no matter the opponent's purpose, it was better to keep a low profile for now.
Suddenly, Zhang Shui asked, by the way, Xingchen, why haven't I seen your parents around in the past 2 years?
Do you live here alone?
Yeah,
Xingchen nodded. They got divorced, and I live here alone.
By the way, Aunt Zhang Shui, what do you do for work? I'm an art teacher at the nearby Whitehorse Primary School. Zhang Shui didn't elaborate further and stood up to gather the dishes from the table. I'll go wash these dishes.
No need, just leave them there.
I'll wash them later, Xingchen said.
That won't do.
You already cooked, I can't let you do the dishes too, Zhang Shui insisted as she headed into the kitchen, leaving Xingchen and Li Tongyun in the living room. At this moment, the young girl Li Tongyun suddenly lowered her voice and said, Brother, you used to not even look my mom in the eye. You didn't invite her over just because she's pretty, did you?
Source, novigo.co.
Xingchen speechlessly replied, What are you even talking about?
Don't think nonsense.
My mom is indeed very pretty, Li Tongyun muttered softly.
Xingchen was torn between laughter and tears, thinking the kids nowadays are too cunning.
However, it wasn't because Zhang Shui was pretty, it was because she had information he wanted to know about, like the mysterious organization and the inner world. Zhang Shui was quick at chores, soon washing all the dishes in the sink. Noticing dirty clothes in the bathroom, she scooped them up. Xingchen, it's not easy living alone. From now on, just bring me your dirty clothes, and I'll wash them.
Come on, Xiaoyun, let's go home. Brother Xingchen still needs to study.
Wait,
I can wash them myself.
Xingchen hadn't finished speaking when Jiang Shui, pulling Li Tongyun alone, left without giving him a chance to respond. Xingchen stood stunned in the dimly lit small house, completely unprepared for her actions. He returned to his bedroom and slowly lay down on the bed, pondering what he should do next. In his class WeChat group, there were already 999 unread messages, all discussing the matter of transmigrators. Even the incidents involving Jiang Shui tonight were slowly becoming a topic of discussion among the people of Los Angeles City and might even hit the trending topics tomorrow. Students, office workers, and even the real power players were all constantly paying attention to the word transmigrator. He glanced at the class group chat records. Whenever someone discussed the characteristics of transmigrators, Nan Gengchen would chime in saying that these transmigrators must be inherently exceptional. At that moment, to be honest, Xingchen somewhat hoped that Nan Gengchen would transmigrate into prison number 18. Although that would mean he couldn't conceal his identity anymore, Nan Gengchen's expression then would probably be priceless. Xingchen opened the search engine, hoping to see if Yi Xiaoxiao had released any new guides, but her live streaming room was still dark with no new updates. He glanced at his WeChat, and his mother hadn't sent any messages. Just as he was about to go to sleep, his phone suddenly rang. The caller ID showed, Mom. Xingchen sat up and answered, Hello? On the other end, Zhang Wanfang said, Xiao Chen, I've already sent your father the living expenses. However, Xingchen hadn't seen any living expenses for a long time. Mom, this week. Xingchen wanted to mention that he needed to pay for his textbooks, but before he could finish, Zhang Wanfang already interjected over the phone, Hao suddenly has a fever, so we won't visit you this weekend. Okay, go to sleep early, and don't fall behind on your studies. Yeah, okay, Xingchen replied and then hung up. He had finally received a call, but it seemed as if she had already forgotten about him skipping classes. But it didn't matter anymore. At this time, Xingchen, are you there, are you there, are you there? Nan Gengchen messaged in the middle of the night. What's up? Xingchen asked. I just found a group online that welcomes all transmigrators for interaction. Are you going? I'll send you the group number, Nan Gengchen said excitedly, already acting like a transmigrator himself. We are not transmigrators, what's the point of joining? Xingchen said. There was a pause from Nan Gengchen's end. Why not join in on the fun? Maybe we can find out something new. Just in case one day we both transmigrate, wouldn't it be good to have some information ahead of time? I'm not going, you go, Xingchen said. He wasn't the least bit interested in the transmigrators group now. What if it was a trap set by the mysterious organization, just waiting for everyone to fall into the net? It might not be dangerous, but he didn't want his freedom to be restricted. Only a simpleton like Nan Gengchen would barge into every bustling scene. If you're not going, okay then, I'll go check it out, Nan Gengchen said. After that, Nan Gengchen went silent. A little while later, just as Cheng Chen was beginning to feel sleepy, Nan Gengchen reappeared. Xingchen. What now? Xingchen asked resignedly. The group admin said they were a transmigrator and even claimed they brought back hundreds of pairs of high-tech socks from the inner world. These socks are not only odor-resistant and sweat-proof, but they also enable brisk walking, extend life, and supposedly can stimulate acupoints using nanotechnology. Do you want a couple of pairs? Nan Gengchen asked. Xingchen? Socks from the damn inner world. Scammers these days were getting ridiculously outrageous, they latch onto any trending topic. He knew the transmigrators group was unreliable, but he hadn't expected it to be this bad. Xingchen asked, did you buy any? Nan Gengchen answered, I don't have any money, otherwise I might have bought a pair and tried them out. Xingchen managed to say after holding back, impressive. Nan Gengchen continued, there's also a transmigrator in the group who claims they got their hands on a genetic potion from the inner world, which can turn a person into a transcendent. What else are the people in the group saying? There's another transmigrator who said they know a few wealthy matrons in the inner world who are desperately seeking children, and he can help introduce people to them.
What else are the people in the group saying?
Qingchen roughly understood now, this group was truly a gathering spot for scammers. He even suspected that except for Nan Gengchen, everyone in the group was a scammer, with Nan Gengchen being the only fool.
Chapter 21.
Expansion Pack, Shadow Struggle. 7:20 a.m., countdown 16 hours and 40 minutes. Qingchen had run 3 laps around the neighborhood, and when he returned home, he saw Jiang Shui hanging clothes on the balcony railing upstairs, each piece belonging to him. Because he had been busy with time travel matters recently, he had accumulated a lot of unwashed clothes. He had planned to wash them yesterday, but Jiang Shui had taken them. Upon seeing him, Jiang Shui smiled and opened the window to call out, "Qingchen, I've made some plain porridge, come up and have some." No need, Qingchen quickly waved his hand, then nibbled on a compressed biscuit as he headed to school. It had been a long time since anyone had treated him so kindly, so he was not quite accustomed to it. Just as he entered the school gate, Qingchen saw many people running towards the high school building. He happened to run into Nan Gengchen sprinting, and he curiously asked, "What's going on? Didn't you see the class WeChat group? There's a transmigrator in the class next to ours, the guy is currently in the classroom," Nan Gengchen said, panting.
Wait, how did they find out he is a transmigrator?
Qingchen wondered. There had been no one with mechanical limbs in the next class yesterday.
Source, novigo.co.
He was bragging about it, Nan Gengchen explained. He held it in all day, but let it slip last night while chatting with classmates.
Qingchen frowned upon hearing this. What was happening? So many transmigrators in Los Angeles foreign language school?
The school had about 2,000 people, and out of the known transmigrators, 4 were from this school alone.
How many could there be nationwide?
Even if only a dozen cities nationwide had transmigrators, the overall number wouldn't be small. By then, Qingchen thought, others would probably spot this pattern as well.
Would there be a large influx of people into these cities, hoping to become the 3rd, 4th, or 5th wave of transmigrators?
Perhaps not right now, but if a 3rd wave of transmigrators were to confirm this suspicion, such theories might turn into reality.
In the future, including Los Angeles, those dozen cities would likely become increasingly bustling.
Qingchen and Nan Gengchen ran towards the classroom, but before they could get a clear look, the dean of students arrived with a group of teachers and took away the student who claimed to be a transmigrator.
We're too late, Nan Gengchen mumbled.
Qingchen decided not to meddle further and turned to pull Nan Gengchen towards their own class. He guessed that the mysterious organization would soon arrive at the school, and with the transmigration imminent tonight, he didn't want to complicate matters. He wasn't sure if the mysterious organization had seen his face.
Since they could restrict Jiang Shui's movements, they could probably check the surveillance cameras, right?
Although the area where he lived was old and the surveillance sparse, and he had deliberately chosen to walk in places without cameras that day, Qingchen couldn't guarantee that they hadn't found him. Throughout the entire day, Qingchen stayed quietly in class, avoiding any encounter with the mysterious organization. Except to use the restroom, he never left the classroom. It is worth mentioning that their English teacher, Dui Hong, had taken another leave of absence, which only solidified Qingchen's suspicions.
Qingchen, look, Nan Gengchen said. He Xiaoxiao's guide has been updated. Qingchen's eyes lit up.
So far, among all the transmigrators who described the inner world, He Xiaoxiao's guide was probably the most captivating. Because others simply provided an overview of the world or some fragmented information. But He Xiaoxiao, a top player in video gaming, was sharing genuinely useful information. Such as the contraindicated quartz, Uncle Li Dong, and the genetic potion stuff that most transmigrators hadn't even come into contact with yet. However, what had happened when He Xiaoxiao suddenly disappeared and then reappeared? Qingchen opened the video on his phone. Hello everyone, I'm He Xiaoxiao. Due to some special reasons, I couldn't provide a new guide yesterday. Today's guide is about the current expansion of the Inner World game, Chang's Shadow Contest.
Chang's Group is one of the top 5 companies in the inner world.
A shadow in Chang's Group holds all the power in the underground world. It's said that this has been a tradition in Chang's for over 1,000 years. Every once in a while, they select a new shadow, leading to a fierce competition similar to a royal succession struggle. Each shadow candidate must undergo the harshest of trials. At the same time, when the new shadow is chosen, it usually stirs up considerable turmoil in the inner world.
Currently, there are 8 known shadow candidates. Each one of them is exceptionally gifted.
These candidates are named Xing Hui, Xing Wen, Xing Shi, but there's one who is extremely mysterious. I haven't been able to find out his identity yet. Xing Chen watched silently, knowing that an expansion meant new plots and characters opened up based on an existing game, like Red Alert 3, Yuri's Revenge. He didn't know that Uncle Li Dong had once speculated that he was a shadow candidate, nor did he even know himself that he was one.
Lu Guangyi had never mentioned it.
But now he suddenly understood why he had appeared in prison number 18. It must be said, He Xiaoxiao's strategies had always been of great help to him.
Countdown 6 hours 19 minutes and 29 seconds.
He waited until the afternoon, but Xing Chen did not see anyone from the mysterious organization at the school.
Instead, a classmate from the next class had not come back, reportedly taken home by his parents for reflection.
As the time for time travel drew closer, Xing Chen could clearly feel Nan Gengchen becoming increasingly nervous.
He didn't know what to advise him.
If this guy really did travel to prison number 18, then he would take the risk of being discovered to help him. If you travel tonight, you must be careful. You've seen what those people online said, the inner world is not safe, Xing Chen advised Nan Gengchen.
Nan Gengchen's expression was a bit unnatural.
I'm not a transmigrator. As long as you know, Xing Chen said no more, as the other had managed to keep the secret up to now. It showed he knew what he was doing. In the evening, Xing Chen skipped classes and went home, then calmly waited at home for the countdown to time travel. He closed his eyes to rest. After an unknown amount of time, there was a knock on the door.
Xing Chen opened the door and saw Zhang Shui standing outside. Is something the matter, Aunt Zhang Shui? Zhang Shui hesitated and then said, You know I'm a transmigrator.
The countdown has a little while left until it's time. The inner world is very dangerous and I'm not sure if I can come back. If I don't return safely tomorrow, could you take care of Xiao Yun for a day for me?
Xing Chen was stunned.
Why would you say that?
You'll definitely come back safely.
Zhang Shui shook her head. You wouldn't comfort me like this if you knew how dangerous that world is, but I am well aware. There, without the backing of the 5 major companies, a human life is worthless. I'm not asking you to take care of Xiao Yun for long. Her grandmother is coming over from Zheng City tomorrow.
Okay, I promise you, but I still hope you'll be fine, Xing Chen nodded.
Thank you, Zhang Shui said, handing Xing Chen a key. I'll leave a key with you, in case something happens you can easily open the door. Having said this, Zhang Shui turned and left.
Xing Chen was stunned for several seconds.
He hadn't expected her to entrust him with her house key.
This must also be a form of trust, right? Countdown 00:9:59.
Xing Chen, making the most of his last moments, held a small USB drive in his mouth. He wanted to test if an item hidden in his body could pass through that wall of time. Then, he once again turned his arm purple.
After everything was completed, Xing Chen took a deep breath. Countdown, 10 seconds. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1.
The world shattered.
And reformed. The monthly tickets are already in the top 10. 45,000 word monthly tickets in the top 10.
If I can get into the top 5 this month, I will immediately add 3 more chapters. Thanks to the group members of Elbow Black and Stupid Group, Bear Children, Autumn Detachment, Beetle for becoming the book's alliance hierarchs.
Big shots are generous. May your fortune be as vast as the eastern seas and your life as long as the southern mountains. Creator's thoughts. Lord Bluefire. Footnote
1. Nine Dragons' contention for succession was a historical event in which the sons of Emperor Kangxi of the Qing dynasty competed for the throne. 2. Red Alert 3, Yuri's Revenge is an existing game under the Command & Conquer series, though it is supposed to be the expansion pack for Red Alert 2, not 3. Chapter 22. Welcome to prison number 18. The familiar cell, the familiar alloy walls, the familiar cold bed planks. Qingchen had never been so delighted, fearing that his second transmigration might land him somewhere different, which would render all his previous efforts wasted. The hard-earned goodwill he had gathered from Uncle Li Dong would also go down the drain. It now seemed that each transmigration would be a continuation of the last, meaning the canon scores he had memorized would still come in handy. Regardless of what role Uncle Li Dong played, it was confirmed through his Xiaoxiao strategy that he was a figure of great importance in the inner world. At this moment, Qingchen believed that 90% of transmigrators were still somewhat perplexed, not knowing how to obtain what they desired in this inner world.
Yet, he had already transmigrated next to Uncle Li Dong.
Perhaps other transmigrators had already witnessed the magnificent wonder of the outside world, but that was unimportant. Qingchen spat out the USB drive from his mouth into his palm, a successful experiment. The fact that he could bring the USB drive along meant that as long as the item was inside the body, it could pass through the wall of time.
Source: Navgo. Co.
He then looked at the purple and green bruises on his arm, similarly, injuries from the outer world that had transmigrated along with him. This proved that the body, indeed, was the same one that had traveled through time, no mistake. Qingchen, relying on his methods, was gradually completing his understanding of this world and the transmigration mechanism. Time ticked away slowly, and the noisy sounds of prisoners banging on the alloy gates gradually rose in prison number 18. For some reason, Qingchen found the clamor he hadn't heard for 2 days strangely comforting, compared to the totally uncharted outer world. He was back. Qingchen gazed at his arm where the white pattern of meshed mechanics counted down in a different fashion.
Return countdown 47 hours 55 minutes and 50 seconds. The countdown to return was still 2 days, very brief. However, Qingchen wondered, would the countdown's time limit change? Would it become longer or shorter in the future?
When mealtime arrived, the alloy gate opened on schedule. Qingchen no longer acted as cautiously as he did on his first arrival. He simply stepped over the threshold and gazed down below, where Uncle Li Dong, Yuan, and Lin Xiaoxiao were already downstairs, with Lin Xiaoxiao even waving at him. And the envying gazes of other prisoners still surrounded him. Qingchen smiled and greeted the prisoners, some of them hurriedly returning the gesture as if flattered. At some point, the 17-year-old boy had also become a big shot in the prison. However, Qingchen was in no hurry to go downstairs. He stood in the shadow of the corridor on the 5th floor, silently observing the prison. Last night at midnight in the inner world, all prisoners had been locked up in cells, and a group of newcomers had also been brought in. By now, the second batch of transmigrators in the outer world should have arrived in the inner world. Qingchen intended to stand upstairs to see if he could detect any trace of transmigrators and pondered how to conceal his identity should actual transmigrators appear. At that moment, 8 newcomers stood bewildered along the second-floor corridor, timidly surveying their surroundings. Qingchen was startled for a moment because among them was none other than Lu Dizhu, the classmate from the next class who had claimed to be a transmigrator yesterday. He couldn't go down now, the other person would surely recognize him. Amid the noise, Lu Guangyi on the 6th floor laughed and shouted to the newcomers, "Got new folks, eh? We'll have a good time later." Qingchen had been somewhat annoyed by Lu Guangyi before, but now that he had returned to prison number 18, even seeing this guy felt somewhat comforting. Suddenly, someone greeted the new prisoners with a smile, "Welcome to prison number 18. Qingchen observed the expressions of the newcomers and saw Lu Dizhu's expression gradually change when he heard the term prison number 18.
Fear in his eyes momentarily gave way to a hint of glee. It seemed that the phrase prison number 18 was exceptionally special. However, Lu Dizhu didn't make any hasty moves. He silently followed the other prisoners in line downstairs to get food, and along the way, he quietly asked the inmate in front, "Excuse me, which one is Uncle Li Dong?" The prisoners around him were taken aback upon hearing this, all wondering to themselves, is this guy some sort of special connection? After pondering for a moment, one of the inmates pointed him out. There, the one downstairs. Looking down from the upper floor, Lu Dizhu recognized the unique trait of Uncle Li Dong, thinking to himself that he Xiao sure hadn't lied to him. This middle-aged man's demeanor was clearly that of a boss. After obtaining his meal, he noticed that other inmates were free to move around, and they began to surround him with ill intent, smiling menacingly. Lu Dizhu had a bad feeling and decisively carried his tray towards Uncle Li's direction. Yet before he could get close, he was already blocked by Lin Xiaoxiao. Lin Xiaoxiao stood in front of him with a smile and said, "Things have been really strange these past 2 days. Why is it that every newcomer dares come straight to my boss?" Lu Dizhu turned his head to glance at the inmates who wanted to catch him, then whispered mysteriously to Lin Xiaoxiao, "I'm here to receive a task, one of our own." Lin Xiaoxiao? What the heck? Lin Xiaoxiao was utterly baffled by Lu Dizhu's words. Tasks? He had never seen this man in the organization. And this guy was behaving as if he was executing some spy rendezvous. Seeing that Lin Xiaoxiao didn't respond, Lu Dizhu grew impatient. "I really am here to receive a task, a class change mission." "Get lost," Lin Xiaoxiao said impatiently, then waved to the inmates nearby. "What are you standing there for? Take him away." Lu Dizhu was really in a panic now. He shouted toward Uncle Li Dong, "Uncle Li Dong, I'm here for the class change mission." In an instant, the entire prison number 18 fell silent. It was as if someone had suddenly pressed the mute button on prison number 18. The inmates stood rooted to the spot, looking at each other. They didn't know what had happened, but they all felt something airy was going on. At this moment, Uncle Li Dong was still not lifting his head, staring at the game in front of him. But the big cat sprawled on a table and Yuan sitting next to him both instantly looked towards Lu Dizhu. Lin Xiaoxiao squinted his eyes and snickered, "What's this? Another weirdo showing up?" Truth be told, even Lu Dizhu didn't understand where things had gone wrong. The guide from Yi Xiaoxiao had only mentioned 3 career paths. The first 2 were quite vague, but the prison number 18 seemed most feasible. Now that he had transmigrated directly to prison number 18, wasn't this the legendary start for the chosen one? But this didn't seem like a place suitable for a class change mission. Had he made some kind of mistake? Lu Dizhu didn't have the chance to think it through, as the inmate beside him was about to forcefully drag him to the cell for a lesson upon Lin Xiaoxiao's gesture. All of a sudden, Lu Dizhu saw an opening and darted out of the crowd. He ran to the alloy gate next to the square and started banging frantically, "Let me out! They are going to torture me, let me out!" At this time, drones above the firmament began to descend, and the 9 mechanical prison guards down below started to move as well. Qing Chen watched Lu Dizhu speechlessly, thinking this kid must have lost his mind. Having just arrived in a new world, shouldn't he observe the situation first? Chapter 23. Uninvited Guest. The prison had lost its usual bustle, with everyone secretly mulling over the recent events. Only those who had spent some time in prison number 18 could understand what kind of status Uncle Li Dong held there. So, it was beyond everyone's comprehension. What kind of fool would come here and spout nonsense to Uncle Li Dong? The mechanical prison guards approached Lu Dizhu, their alloy skeletons hissing with hydraulic transmissions as they moved. Seeing this display, Lu Dizhu had already forgotten his aspirations to make a name for himself in prison number 18. He had come here today as part of the second group of transmigrators, making his first visit to this inner world dominated by steel beasts, and was immediately intimidated by what unfolded before him. Facing the blockade of mechanical prison guards and drones, it took just over 10 seconds for him to be completely subdued and escorted to an unknown area outside the square.
Boss, don't you think things have been a bit strange lately? Lin Xiaoxiao pondered while squatting on the chair. The day before yesterday, a kid came in and went crazy right away, babbling on about Los Angeles City as if he really were the scion of some conglomerate. And today, another idiot shows up, asking you to assign him a mission. What mission can you give? As he spoke, Lin Xiaoxiao involuntarily reached out to pet the big cat on the table, but before his hand could touch it, the big cat gave him a cold glance, and he sheepishly retracted his hand. Source: Navgo. Co. Uncle Li Dong thought for a moment and said, "Indeed, it is somewhat peculiar." "Oh, where's that kid Ching Chen?" Lin Xiaoxiao suddenly said. "Wasn't he quite eager to come down for meals yesterday? Why isn't he around today?" At that moment, Ching Chen, still walking through the corridors, ignored Lu Dizhu and the mechanical prison guards and headed straight to the 6th floor. He found Lu Guangyi, who was still lined up waiting to go downstairs, and whispered, "After dinner, have your men take control of all the new prisoners and question them one by one about their identities and backgrounds in the outside world." "Right, boss," Lu Guangyi hurriedly agreed. He figured his boss probably wanted to see if there were other forces coming in to compete with them for resources. But Ching Chen was thinking of seeing if there were any other transmigrators hidden among the newcomers. If there were indeed transmigrators, they certainly wouldn't be able to fabricate an outside identity. Those who could clearly explain their identity and background were the natives, those who couldn't were definitely transmigrators. However, Ching Chen was a bit surprised. He had originally thought that Nan Gengchen would also transmigrate to prison number 18, but that didn't happen. At that moment, Ching Chen seemed to remember something, hesitated for a moment, then said to Lu Guangyi, "I know the welcome ceremony is your tradition, but don't be too harsh. It's not easy for anyone." Lu Guangyi was taken aback but then responded, "Okay." After a farce, all the prisoners went to line up for their meals. Following Ching Chen's instructions, Lu Guangyi planned to take the new prisoners to their cells for interrogation. Shortly after, he came back to report to Ching Chen, "Boss, it's done." Ching Chen listened attentively as Lu Guangyi described each prisoner's situation, and only after confirming there were no more transmigrators in the prison did he stride over to sit opposite Uncle Li Dong's dining table. "Playing chess today?" "Not today, we'll skip it for the next few days." Uncle Li Dong thought for a moment and said, "I have some things to think over, and a visitor is coming." "A visitor?" Ching Chen asked, puzzled. Uncle Li Dong smiled, "An unexpected guest." Whoever could be referred to as an unexpected guest by Uncle Li Dong was certainly not an ordinary person. Ching Chen was not yet ready to involve himself in matters he couldn't control, so he refrained from asking further. "I just saw something going on downstairs. What happened?" he said nonchalantly. Uncle Li Dong's face rarely showed a hint of hesitation. "I don't know either." Ching Chen was both amused and frustrated. The transmigrator had even baffled Uncle Li Dong. It was probably the first time Uncle Li Dong had encountered such a situation. At this moment, only Ching Chen knew that the fool Lu Dezhu, after reading He Xiaoxiao's strategy, had really treated Uncle Li Dong like an NPC in the game. Countdown 37 hours and 2 seconds, the alloy gate emitted a rumbling noise, then lifted upward. When the alloy gate was fully opened, a bald man over 2 meters tall was being escorted in by more than a dozen mechanical prison guards. Around them, there were 9 drones blocking all escape routes for the bald man. Not only that, as the man entered, 6 of the metal storms in the sky slowly started to rotate. The rotation angle of these metal storms was only 90 degrees, not 360 degrees. So, as the robust prisoner moved, every time he left the shooting range of some storms, new storms would enter alert mode. They were always firmly locked onto him. This was the first time Ching Chen saw someone being escorted in during the day and the first time he saw the security forces at Prison 18 mobilized to such an extent. The more than 3,000 prisoners silently turned their heads to watch. No one spoke. The prison rang with the crisp clinking sound of the chains of the bald man's alloy shackles scraping against the floor as he walked. The bald man was covered in bronze skin, with traces on his face from being constantly exposed to sunlight, and his exposed skin, like his arms, was marked with black, tattoo-like patterns, eerie yet magnificent. There was no mechanical structure on him. Xing Chen had thought Yuan was already tall and strong enough, but compared to this prisoner, Yuan seemed somewhat lacking. Once the bald man was taken inside the prison, the mechanical prison guards began to gradually retreat towards the alloy gate, without any intention of unlocking his alloy shackles. After the mechanical prison guards had left, the bald man calmly moved his wrists, then picked up a nearby prisoner and asked, "Where is Uncle Li Dong?" The prisoner, who had been modified with mechanical parts in 7 or 8 places, was toyed with in his hands as if he were a mere plaything. The terrified prisoner stretched out his hand to point towards the cafeteria, and all eyes turned to Uncle Li Dong, Xing Chen, and Yuan. Big Cat, abandoning its usual laziness, stared intently at the tall, bald man from Uncle Li Dong's arms. Xing Chen also looked at Uncle Li Dong, who smiled at him. "I didn't expect our guest to be so direct. His name is Guohuchan, and you should have heard of him. In a moment, you and Yuan step back a bit, don't get hurt." Yuan glanced at Xing Chen. To have his boss personally remind him of something so minor showed that his boss's fondness for the young man seemed to exceed his and Lin Xiaoxiao's estimates. At this time, Lu Guanyi, who had been blending in with the crowd, muttered as he looked at Guohuchan's shiny bald head, "Guohuchan, he's come in too." No wonder the boss said a llama had come from the south. The boss hasn't been looking for clues since he came in, just playing chess with Uncle Li and reading, as if nothing's wrong. Turns out he was waiting for Guohuchan's arrival to stir up trouble, then we can reap the benefits. Brilliant! Lu Guanyi's thoughts became animated. Now, in his eyes, Xing Chen was the kind of sage who planned before acting and strategized thousands of miles away. Creator's thoughts. Lord Bluefire. Footnote 1. The Chinese characters for creak can also mean scoffing or sneering at. In this case, the author may have meant that the sounds from their movements sounded like they were scoffing at Lu Dizhu. 2. Metal Storm is a rapid-fire gun prototype that can fire up to 1 million rounds per minute, or 16,000 rounds per second. It was declared by the Guinness Book of Records to be the world's most intelligent and fastest firearm. 3. The llama here refers to Guohuchan. The Chan in his name refers to Diana or Jhana. It is the training of the mind, commonly translated as meditation. Lama is a title used in Tibetan Buddhism, which means highest principle. Chapter 24, The Center of the World. The prison was eerily quiet, and everyone vaguely guessed that after the bald Guohuchan entered, there would be friction with Uncle Li Dong, so everyone wanted to see what would happen. At this moment, Guohuchan, following the gaze of the crowd, headed straight for Uncle Li Dong. He said in a loud voice, "Let's not beat around the bush. I'm here for the ACE-005 taboo, just tell me where it's housed in the prison, and I'll take it and leave." Uncle Li Dong patted the big cat, signaling it to move aside, and then replied with a gentle smile, "You should be more polite to your elders to avoid losses, huh?" Guohuchan said unconcernedly, "Give me the ACE-005 taboo, and naturally, I'll be more courteous to you." Uncle Li Dong curiously asked, "Why has the Spades organization suddenly become interested in taboos too?" "From your tone, I thought you had joined the contraindicated courts." Guohuchan slowly walked to a spot 5 meters opposite Uncle Li Dong and stopped. "My spades need to oppose those behemoths and cannot overlook any aid, and your knight organization should understand our situation since our goals ultimately align." Uncle Li Dong smiled and asked, "But why come looking for the taboo in prison 18 first? Rumors say that Chen's consortium made a deal with you, promising you absolute freedom inside prison 18 as long as you can contain and suppress it. Considering it was personally contained and suppressed by you, Uncle Li Dong, it must be exceptionally powerful," said Guohuchan. Source, novigo.co. "You're mistaken, I haven't made any deals with the Chen clan," Uncle Li Dong patiently explained. "Don't make hasty judgments based on hearsay." Xing Chen listened silently, recalling that the last time he saw the words contraindicated courts was in his Xiaoxiao strategy video. And these contraindicated courts seemed to exist specifically for the taboo. He realized that the taboo mentioned by Guohuchan must also be what he was searching for, and it could be the test he faced in the conflict of shadows. At that moment, Guohuchan took another step forward. "Where is ACE-005? Uncle Li Dong shook his head. "I know, but I won't tell you."
Why?
Guo Huchan took another step forward, his tattoo-like totem seemingly coming alive, the twisting and changing patterns writhing crazily. With a thud, everyone felt the ground tremble slightly as he stepped down. Uncle Li Dong just smiled, no reason, I just quite like ACE-005. The over 3,000 prisoners began to riot, having been stifled inside Prison 18 for too long, constantly monitored by guards, the invisible order binding everyone like shackles.
And now, chaos reigned at last.
Above in the iron sky, 72 metal storm devices activated, with 36 of them spinning rapidly into action. The prisoners cried out in astonishment as it typically took a riot of half an hour before mechanical guards lost control and the metal storm was deployed. But this time was different, they had activated immediately without waiting for the riot to start. At this moment, apart from the whirlpool center of Uncle Li Dong and Guo Huchan, only Qing Chen was undistractedly looking up at the iron sky. In the chaos, no one noticed he had taken a few steps back, then turned and walked in another direction. In an instant, Guo Huchan lunged forward, punching out as fast as lightning, his bell-like fist swiftly aiming at Uncle Li Dong's face. Following his movement, the barrels of the metal storms turned, with 36 cold machines beginning to fire indiscriminately, suppressing all the inmates of Prison 18 with gunfire. Not with metal bullets, but rubber ones. These 36 metal storms were purely for suppression, while the remaining 36 were the real heavy artillery. Rain like rubber bullets poured down, throwing the prisoners off their feet. Guo Huchan's punch thundered like a storm, adding thunder to the rain in Prison 18. But in the next instant, his fist suddenly stopped. There was Uncle Li Dong with a smiling face, raising his hand in front of him, stunningly halting the thundering force of the punch.
Uncle Li turned to Guo Huchan, steady as a rugged mountain.
He turned back to check if Qing Chen was all right, knowing that this young man was different from them, being just an ordinary person.
But suddenly Uncle Li Dong was taken aback.
Because right behind him, 2 meters away, Qing Chen sat calmly at his usual dining table spot, the place he would sit daily to look at chess company. 36 metal storms peppering the uprising prison with rubber bullets, crisscrossing trajectories densely, yet Qing Chen sat right in the only blind spot of all their firing paths.
The only blind spot in Prison 18. The rain poured down. Not a single drop landed on the boy.
It was as if the boy was the center of the world. The black rain from the iron sky gradually ceased. Apart from Qing Chen, Yuan, Guo Huchan, Uncle Li Dong, and Lin Xiaoxiao, all the prisoners were in agony, clutching their heads to the ground. Everyone was in pain, and some who got down slowly were even battered by the metal storm to the point of bruised faces. In contrast to these people's disheveled appearance, Qing Chen, sitting calmly at the dining table, possessed an almost transcendent and dust-free aura. For some reason, Uncle Li Dong always felt that although he had known this boy for only a few days, he grew fonder of him more and more. The other's temperament and capabilities were beyond those of his peers.
Is this the shadow that Qing's family is about to choose?
When would his side be able to find such a successor? Thinking this, he pushed Guo Huchan's fist away with his palm, an action that seemed casual, yet Guo Huchan's figure was thrown back 5 or 6 meters before he could barely stabilize himself. Guo Huchan didn't act rashly anymore but sat down on the spot to regulate his breathing. From the beginning to the end of the battle, he had only managed to make the white exercise suit on the other person flutter a few times. There had always been rumors that Uncle Li Dong was a demigod of this era, but he became famous so long ago that younger generation experts like Guo Huchan had never seen him in action. This time, the Spades organization had sent him to Prison 18 to find the ACE-005 taboo, and also to see what level of strength Uncle Li Dong had attained nowadays. Now, Guo Huchan understood that the gap between him and Uncle Li Dong was still as vast as a chasm. Uncle Li Dong shifted his gaze from Qing Chen and looked at Guo Huchan with a smile. "Shall we continue fighting?" The tattoo-covered bald man, now calm, said in a deep voice, "No more fighting, no more.
If I can't win, why continue?
Don't worry, even if you don't tell me, I can still find the ACE-005 taboo." Qing Chen found this bald man quite interesting. Despite the life-and-death situation just moments ago, he suddenly gave in. The other didn't look as fierce as he appeared. After a fight, he actually lightened up considerably. The transition in attitude was quite drastic. However, Guo Huchan thought that since Uncle Li Dong knew the location of the taboo, he would follow him. After all, the other might slip up sometime. No worries, take your time, Uncle Li Dong replied nonchalantly with a nod. Without further concern for Guo Huchan, he walked over and sat opposite Qing Chen at the dining table. Is this position calculated? Qing Chen shook his head. Although my computational ability is significantly stronger than ordinary people, for now, it can't handle such massive trajectory computations. It's just a rough guess. Uncle Li Dong also shook his head. A rough guess isn't enough for you to find this precise position. A brief calculation only narrowed it down to 4 areas, and the place you sit every day just happens to be in those options, so there was no need to calculate the rest, said Qing Chen calmly. Sitting here was a gamble for Qing Chen, but he guessed right again. Such probability-driven decisions were something he always excelled at. The voting rankings named the Knight's Technique are already in 9th place, which surprises me, as I seem to be the biggest beneficiary after the website changed its rules. After my new book became eligible for monthly tickets, it skyrocketed to 9th with just 50,000 words. Awesome, everyone! Thank you, everyone. As promised, I'll add 3 more chapters if we enter the top 5. I can't release many chapters all at once during the new book period, but I'll definitely add more upon the official release. Thank you to the reader with the large donation, 1383594256452726784, and to Ai Shuwa de Josie, Tino9494, and Lin Xian for becoming chiefs of this book. You bosses are magnificent. May you be as fortunate as the eastern seas and live as long as the southern mountains. Chapter 25. The New Nightmare. After the chaos, the prisoners slowly got to their feet, as dozens of mechanical prison guards entered the square with the neat sound of hydraulic transmission, directing the inmates to clean up everything that had been overturned. In the dining hall, Guo Huchan sat cross-legged on the ground not far away, as if he had entered a monk-like trance. Lin Xiaoxiao looked at the black rubber bullets scattered all over the ground and remarked, when immortals fight, it's the mortals who suffer. The ones who fought are fine, but those inmates who didn't are the ones who really got unlucky. Hey, Guo Huchan, doesn't everyone say you're compassionate and always do good deeds? So what about those you've dragged down with you? Without even lifting his eyelids, Guo Huchan replied, you talk to me about innocent bystanders in prison? There's not a single innocent one among them. Hypocrite, Lin Xiaoxiao twitched his mouth. Also, I'd like to emphasize, Guo Huchan opened his eyes to glance at Lin Xiaoxiao, I'm not a monk, so don't use words like compassionate to describe me. After saying this, he closed his eyes again to seriously adjust his breathing. He seemed unharmed in the fight with Uncle Li Dong, but his internal organs were actually quite uncomfortable now, as if they had been scorched by a fire. Source, Navgo. Ko. Seeing that he was quietly meditating, the others stopped bothering him. Lin Xiaoxiao gave Yuan a look, and suddenly, an invisible force field expanded around them. Qing Chen had seen this ability before. When the iron sky rained black droplets, all that fell towards Yuan was repelled by this force field. Seeing Qing Chen's puzzled look, Lin Xiaoxiao explained with a smile, don't worry, our voices won't carry. Uncle Li Dong sat by the dining table, pulling the large cat into his arms, then said to Qing Chen, this morning, I saw Lu Guangyi questioning those people during the newcomer's ceremony. That was your doing, right? It was me, Qing Chen admitted, knowing that the other party was aware of his connection to Qing's family and that Lu Guangyi was taking orders from him. He no longer hid the fact. Why did you interrogate them? Uncle Li Dong asked. I wanted to see if there were other forces competing with me for the taboo, Qing Chen lied, needing a plausible reason to explain his actions. Uncle Li Dong nodded, I appreciate your honesty, but I noticed that Lu Guangyi didn't mistreat the new inmates this time. Was that also your doing? Yes, Qing Chen said. But I remember when you first came in, you didn't help the other newcomers, Uncle Li Dong remarked. Within my power, Qing Chen responded.
Uncle Li Dong smiled and offered no judgment.
If his own safety was in jeopardy, Xing Chen would quietly watch others die without lifting a finger. That was his principle. His life was never smooth sailing, so he had learned selfishness early on. It was an attitude toward life bestowed upon him by his experiences, not a choice of his own making. At that moment, Lin Xiaoxiao suddenly glanced over at Guo Huchan, who was seated not far away. Xing Chen turned his head and was shocked to see Guo Huchan still sitting with his eyes closed, but his long arms had already dropped to his sides. Using the index and middle fingers of both hands, he propped his entire body up, slightly off the ground. Then, like walking, he inched closer to Yuan's force field with his fingers. It was clear that he realized he couldn't hear the other's conversation from where he was, so he wanted to sneak closer. This made Xing Chen chuckle ruefully. A burly man over 2 meters tall, covered in tattoos, had been fiercely fighting just a moment ago and now pretended to meditate, while in reality, he was trying to eavesdrop on other people's chats. The contrast was just too great. Feeling the eyes upon him, Guo Huchan nonchalantly used his fingers to move back to his original spot as if nothing had happened. The sight even made Uncle Li Dong laugh. "All right, let's disperse. It's a pity I didn't get to play chess today. I'm off to read a book." Before leaving, Lin Xiaoxiao squatted in front of Guo Huchan with a smile. "If you've lost, just stay put honestly. We really don't want to make an enemy of Spade, knowing full well it's not easy for you out in the wilderness. But could you refrain from causing us trouble, alright?" Guo Huchan lifted his eyelids. "I didn't lose to you, so why so smug?" Lin Xiaoxiao raised her eyebrows. "You think I can't deal with you?" Guo Huchan replied calmly, "Touch a hair on my head and see what happens." Lin Xiaoxiao looked at the other person's shiny bald head. Indeed, rumors were just rumors. This Guo Huchan was nothing like what he had heard. Xing Chen paid no attention to their bickering and instead turned to get his food from the window and began to eat voraciously. He had been dirt poor in the outer world, eating compressed biscuits for 2 days since he returned. Although his family did have rice, flour, and vegetables, there was no meat. He couldn't afford it. The food here was average, but at least the synthetic meat had some taste of real meat. Xing Chen felt somewhat melancholic that the prison food in the inner world was actually better than what he usually ate in the outer world. When he absent-mindedly looked up while eating, he suddenly noticed that a quarter of the 210 surveillance cameras in Prison 18 had silently turned towards him. It seemed that his feat of finding a blind spot in a flash had caught someone's attention. But he had no idea who was behind those monitors. After Lin Xiaoxiao and Guo Huchan finished their spat, Lin Xiaoxiao stood up, set Xing Chen's plate aside, then grabbed another plate and tapped on the window, saying to the robot inside, "The boss has ordered that from now on, he gets real meat, as much as he wants." Xing Chen was stunned. "Why?" Lin Xiaoxiao smiled mysteriously. "You'll find out soon enough, but it might not be a good thing." At night, while Chang Chen was brushing his teeth in his cell, he suddenly felt a wave of drowsiness wash over him and immediately sensed that something was amiss. This time, however, he didn't collapse and fall asleep on the spot like before. Instead, he calmly rinsed his mouth and made sure he was lying in a comfortable position on the bedboard before slowly closing his eyes. The nightmare began. In the dream, Xing Chen found himself in a desert, with 2 people sitting on the opposite dune. The desert in the nightmare world was filled with flying sand and the sun was scorching hot. In just a few seconds, Xing Chen felt his lips dry out and crack. One of the people across called out pleadingly, "Xing Chen, please give us a sip of the water from your backpack. If we don't drink soon, we're going to die." Xing Chen took off his backpack and opened it, indeed finding a bottle of water inside. He didn't speak. The person across couldn't bear it anymore. "We won't drink your water for free, just name your price." Suddenly, a voice whispered in Xing Chen's ear, facing companions who are about to die of thirst, "How would you price your water?" Xing Chen looked coldly at the person opposite and said, "I'll watch the person next to you die of thirst first, then let him name his price." As soon as he finished speaking, the person across turned into Lin Xiaoxiao and the other faded away slowly like a bursting bubble. Lin Xiaoxiao said speechlessly, "Are you even human?" I already knew this was your nightmare, so naturally, I would not feel any sympathy. Xingchen found a comfortable spot to sit down. This is truly bizarre, Lin Xiaoxiao said, sitting opposite him. You can now remain conscious and retain your memories even after entering the nightmare, so you should be able to resist its call too, right?
Yes, Xingchen answered succinctly.
Chapter 26, Experience through a painful life, then you will be more superior. Lin Xiaoxiao asked, since you can resist the nightmare, why do you still enter? If you endure for 5 minutes without falling asleep, you naturally would be able to escape the nightmare's call. I thought you had something to say, so I came, Xingchen replied. What are you testing this time? From today on, it's no longer a test, but the boss wants me to take you on a journey, Lin Xiaoxiao answered.
Take me on a journey? Xingchen puzzled, what do you mean?
To use nightmares to evolve human nature, to let you experience some tribulations, Lin Xiaoxiao said, but seeing how easily you resisted the nightmare just now, it looks like nightmares will be of no use in the future. The boss himself has to guide you.
Xingchen pondered thoughtfully.
This kind of nightmare was different from the last one. It was more like a lesson a teacher arranges for their students. However, Lin Xiaoxiao then said, don't think too much, the boss still merely admires you for now.
Whether you can become the boss's student in the future is still uncertain.
You are envious of me, Xingchen stated.
Source, Navgo.
Co. Envious, Lin Xiaoxiao candidly admitted, not everyone can become the boss's student, at least Yuan and I can't.
Why? Xingchen could not understand.
Because both of us didn't get through the first trial, Lin Xiaoxiao explained, but the boss feels you should be able to make it through.
Make it through?
Xingchen was momentarily stunned. Lin Xiaoxiao smiled mysteriously, it's a path from death to life, or each improvement requires surviving a predicament, experiencing pain once.
Then why me?
Because the boss says you have the courage to be in a desperate situation and yet survive, Lin Xiaoxiao replied.
Since it's so painful, then why do you still envy it? Xingchen inquired.
Because it is a path of cultivation with limitless potential, while Yuan and I already have our limits set, Lin Xiaoxiao said somewhat longingly, that path might be painful, but you must understand, a life experienced through pain is higher in stature.